Guns N' Roses Lead Therapy. Grand opening is Saturday, August 1st from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Be sure to come on out and see Kathy in her new location at 5124 East Dixon Boulevard in Kings Mountain. She stocks all major brands of firearms and has a large inventory of guns, ammunition, and accessories. And the first 25 adults in the door, age 18 and older, get a free t-shirt. Guns N' Roses Lead Therapy Grand Opening, Saturday, August 1st, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Door prizes and more. Give them a call at 704-750-6088.
Take advantage of a special offer on the versatile Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor. Switching attachments is simple, and a smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation. The Kubota BX Series, the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. You own the land. Now, make it yours. Get the Kubota BX 2380 for payments as low as $99 a month.
Your Kubota dealer is Parker Farm Service, 126 Bessie Drive, off Highway 74 at Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain. Hillbillies Barbecue and Steaks have opened up their brand new location at 305 South Main Street in Laurel, but there will be open for takeouts only for a limited time. Again, at this time, takeouts only. Hillbillies is open Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. Sundays from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Come see the new Hillbillies Barbecue and Steaks. For orders to go, call 704-824-8838. Visit them online at hillbilliesbbqsteaks.com. Like them on Facebook, too.
You could be the winner of a $500 local business shopping spree. It's our way to salute local businesses. Register today at Hometown Hardware, South Railroad Avenue in Kings Mountain. Medical Arts Pharmacy, Grover Street, Shelby. Love's Insurance Agency, East Main Street in Lincoln. At the Captain's Cap Family Fish House on Linwood Road in Gastonia. At Fat Daddy Baggers on East Main Street in Cherryville. At Moss Drug Store on West Franklin Boulevard, Gastonia. Southern Equipment Rentals on Highway 18 North in Shelby. Fins and Critters, Gant Street in Shelby. At All Carry Insurance Agency on West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. And at Norris Discount on Highway 18 south of Shelby. The drawing will be held Friday, August 28th. See your local stores for details. Win a $500 local business shopping spree from The Boss, Carolina Country, and WhatsUpShopper.com.
The Captain's Cap Family Fish House has reopened their dining room. Bring the family on out for a great meal, no matter your favorite. They've got it, from seafood to steak to chicken. It's all great, and you can still use a convenient drive-through window. So visit the nearest Captain's Cap Family Fish House, 3140 Linwood Road in Gastonia, 670 Park Street in Belmont, and 1218 Highway 16 in Denver. Visit the website at thecaptainscap.com and like them on Facebook too.
The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Hello, this is Milton Baker inviting you to listen to NASCAR Racing right here on WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM, and KTCBroadcasting.com.
Only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets.
Good morning on another Saturday morning sports talk with Kevin Hastings, Hunter Yancey, Tom Sinafani, and Terry Reinhardt. You got a line in there?
You got us in there?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, just making sure you got us in there. I don't got me. Why can't I hear me? Y'all hear me over there?
Barely.
Huh. Maybe it's my
It
headphones.
just might be
Can hear you a
low.
little bit.
Maybe it's my headphones. All right, JP. Good morning, brother. How are you?
No,
turn
good.
ours all the way up to the line on radio, Hunter. All of our sliders, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Getting a little bit better there.
Yeah. You're louder now.
You got me in there, JP, now?
Yeah, I got you.
I'll get myself here at some point. But good morning, everybody. KTCBroadcasting.com, live on Facebook. We are live on the radio in the Cherville area, WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM. If you want to listen, you can always use the app on the top of our page. Click on the big green button that says click here to listen on the WCSL page. You can listen, connect to your Bluetooth, drive around the country, in the world, wherever you want to. I guess with the internet, you could drive around on the moon and listen to us, Tom, if you really wanted to.
Yes.
So, or Mars, whichever one you want to, Jay. I wouldn't go to try doing that on Jupiter. But the other ones you might be able to pull it off. Good morning, everybody. It's breakfast time. Mitch's Kitchen breakfast. Terry, what'd you eat this morning?
I have a liver mush fried bologna on a bun with some mayonnaise.
That's thick.
It is.
That's about as thick as it gets.
You won't be hungry till 1 o'clock.
Say that again, Terry.
Liver mush, fried bologna on a bun with some mayonnaise.
It's some mayonnaise. The only thing that would have made that thicker is if it was been on a biscuit. And then
With
I
some
would have
bacon.
been worried if you could get that down.
Bacon. We talk about bacon all the time, don't we, Hunter? They put bacon on everything.
Bacon on
Yeah.
everything.
Not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of everything.
Everything tastes better with bacon, though.
Yeah, that's a lie.
At least that's what people
got
say.
it.
That's what people say. I'm not a big fan of bacon either. I prefer sausage myself, but I mean, that's just me.
What about
Well, I had a bacon, egg, and cheese on toast today.
well,
Like
there you
usual.
go. And me and Hunter's enjoying our sunrise wraps.
Enjoyed.
And
Yeah,
Hunter,
his is gone.
It's gone.
you know the
It's gone. I didn't want to have to think about it while I was.
I don't, just from my experiences in college and just hanging out with the guys and school and everywhere else, the skinniest person at the table always eats the most and the fastest. There's a guy and Terry knows went over there west. I went to school with of app, 2 of them actually, and they were both maybe 150 graduating high school, and they put on about 20 pounds in college. But one of them would his classes ended at 2, and we all kind of ate get a lot together in dinner. But his afternoon snack was a value meal from Hardee's, and and then the other one, he would eat a pregame meal to go to Outback.
What?
Yeah, and it's not like he skimmed it Outback. They got all the meals, the appetizer, salad, steak, dessert. But he would get a Big Mac for a warm up at about 2 or 3 o'clock too. Two people
heck no.
that I both know that weighed about $1.50, and that's how they ate.
Nah.
A warm up.
Couldn't be me.
I'm like, does your girlfriend know that you eat all that? And she's like, no. As soon as school's over, I pick up a. But anyway, but Hunter pounded his sunrise wrap. I wish I could eat that fast sometimes. I can't. I'm a slow eater, but mine is good. I'm enjoying mine, Terry, bite by bite. It'll probably take me 2 hours to eat this thing. Usually how it does in the mornings. I get to talking and forget all about it. But Mitchum's Kitchen, Terry, 704-276-1155, right?
That's it.
7 days a week. And then, of course, the first thing we want to do here is talk about friendship, Hunter. Friends. And we got new friends here on KTC in the morning. Here are our new sponsor here on Saturday Sports Talk. Friendship, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Friendship Nissan, both in Forest City. I want to thank them for joining the family. Up there on the Oak Street extension is both of them. Up at the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram 828-919-3001, and Friendship Nissan 828-245-1661. Of course, thank them for joining us. Of course, we just added the Waggy this past fall for a little bit last few weeks of the season, so we're excited about all that, and hopefully maybe we'll get to play some sports sometime this year. Maybe not looking good. I guess we'll start with kind of what me and Hunter and guys we've went through a lot through this, is that let's talk about lines. We've been asking about, tell us what the rules are. Tell us the lines. Tell us what we're going to do, what's going to happen if this happens, if that happened. But instead, the sports leagues decided they're going to run with the chickens with their head cut off strategy, it seems like. With baseball is talking about canceling the season. Adam Silver was asked the other day if he would cancel the season if players started getting it, and he said yeah. So just wait till someone near LeBron gets it, and we'll end this all really quick in the NBA. And NFL hadn't really said anything, done anything yet. But again, my thing and what I've been asking for, and when I say lines, we need to draw lines in the sand. Is if we were going to shut this down after one person getting it or three person getting it, they should have said that from the start. And then a lot of people wouldn't have even came out. A lot of the players wouldn't waste time because they know that one person's going to get it and they're over. So now we're into a situation where baseball, they got 60-man roster, and they're not really, seems like, going to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about canceling the Marlins. The Cardinals got 2 guys. And we've been asking for weeks, how are we going to treat this? Are we going to treat it like mono or something else? Where you sit out? Jimmy Johnson sat out 2 days, and he tested okay. Are any of these ball players hospitalized? Are any of them going to die? Like, what are I've got all kinds of questions on what we're going to do here, and we have no answers or no lines to be drawn. And where I'm getting at it with is that, are we just going to get to the point right now with baseball's canceling Monday, the other sports going to cancel too, and we're going to be sitting here again for another year, basically, Hunter, with our sports talk show, talking nothing about viruses. So, with that said, about as far as baseball goes, let's start with baseball this morning and go with there and get updated and on the situations with that, guys. If y'all want to kind of get into where we are with all that.
Well, I mean, looks like the Marlins have just continued to rack up the numbers within their own club. I think they're at the total of 18 now.
But aren't they replacing them?
Supposed
they're
to.
replacing.
They're supposed to. See,
that's what I heard.
And that's kind of what I meant before we came on air. And I know I've said it this week when they were murmuring a possibility of canceling the season. What was, they all knew the risk when they were signing up to get ready to go play. They obviously had to take that into consideration, or else you would. And even Nick Markakis came out from opting out.
Yep,
He decided,
sure
okay,
did.
well, maybe, you know what, I'm going to play again. So they had ample opportunities to say that they were going to sit out, but the MLB also had it set up to where it wasn't. They had an opportunity to still help, like, the organization as a whole with these 60-man taxi rosters. Sure, they probably weren't foreseeing one team in the Marlins having about 18 cases. They were thinking, okay, maybe if there's 2 or 3 cases, that's fine. You'll have the 2 or 3 players come up, and those 2 or 3 that have it will just quarantine and sit out, and when they're ready to come back.
That's not what they did with the Cardinals. They got
They can
2
come
guys and they
back.
set the whole team in the hotel.
I know
which
that.
they got from Minnesota is where they were when they got whatever
Well, it's
they
the
got.
same
and then now
exact
they're
thing
sitting
with
in Milwaukee.
who was it? The Phillies. Was
Yeah.
it the Phillies? And the Orioles. They both sat both those teams out because they had came in contact with a team that had it. But I don't know quite why they did that though, because they didn't share the same. Like baseball, you're not exactly touching somebody at all times. You know
But
what I'm saying?
they're not following the stipulations in the clubhouse. What they're saying, they just
Oh,
they've got safety standards that are being ignored.
Yes,
is what
they're
saying.
they're upset probably that players are not just going and sitting in the stands and they're chilling in the dugout. But what I meant by that is, are the Phillies dugout not separate than the Marlins dugout?
Supposed to be. And see, that's what I'm getting. If you're on the opposite side, why should that other team be in your part of the field? I mean, in your dugout, in your dressing rooms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I just...
To
I
me,
mean,
it just feels like if you nix it right now, or let me put it this way: if you do nix it, it would have to be right now. You're only 7 games in.
Yeah, well...
Or 6 or 7 games
they
in.
keep
Like, you would have to
saying-
do it now.
They keep saying
Don't
that
let
they're
it
going to
get
finish
later.
playing.
This is Lead Therapy. Grand
And-
opening is Saturday.
Sorry.
Yeah. Once they can finish playing, it don't matter whether you can make up the games because there's not enough room to make up all the games. And you might play 50 games while the other team plays 60.
See, but that's not fair.
Well,
I mean, you're gonna have to do something. You're not.
I think that's why they implemented the double headers, because
you're not
it's
going
just
to be
to
able
make
to
it
let
up.
one team's not going to play 50, and now every once in a while, if the game doesn't mean anything at the end of the season, I've seen them canceled before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's what they're thinking about doing now.
Not meaningful games. Not if a team's 3 or 4 games back, and say, well, you missed 10 games and you're like 3 games back. I don't see them. I don't see them just killing that part of the season. But, the players have got to follow the safety protocols. And the difference between the baseball and the basketball, most people know, is basketball is in that bubble and baseball's not. They're traveling around. So they have to do the distancing and the hand washing and the other stuff. And obviously some of them aren't doing it or not doing it well enough. And this thing just spreads. And that's the thing. If you get one guy in a room with it, a bunch of other guys are going to have it. So
it's just tough for me to just think that they would just nix it this fast, though, when they do have these guidelines set up for when somebody does catch it. It's like, what was the point of the 60-man taxi roster then? What was the point of having these 60 guys, basically, whether they're made up of minor league players that you were possibly could pull from to come up and take the place of somebody that was sick? They didn't make that 60-man roster to replace someone that's injured. They didn't do that. That might be a benefit of it, but they did it because just in case somebody got it. It's like you had this implemented in it, and you knew this was a possibility going forward. You try as hard, because I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if one or two people even in the NBA bubble test positive for it. It just wouldn't surprise me. It just seems to be that it somehow creeps its way in some way.
It's gonna be worse in the NBA too, because there's a lot more contact between players. So.
And see, that's why, to me, I feel like baseball, you could still continue to do it. If you are able to act fast enough like how the Cardinals did, you got the 2 players that got it, and you shut down operations for that day. You get them out of the facility. You come in, you get everything cleaned down. You get all your other players tested, and then you get them cleaned up and get everything sanitized around them. I feel like you could keep going.
What's aggravating is they never said they were going to do this. They never said as soon as one person gets or 2 people, we're going to shut the whole team down. Like you said, we got 60 people. Why are we shutting it down? Play baseball, sit those 2 people out and play. Quit whining about it. Let's go. Either play or don't play. You can't sit there and say we're going to try to play and hope nobody gets it, because it ain't going to happen. Football definitely ain't going to happen. You can forget that. 50 people on the roster, 50 people on the field tackling each other. The basketball, as soon as one person gets it, Tom's right, it's going to spread like wildfire because they're sweating and breathing on each other. So you either play with or play without, and you can't sit there and it's aggravating. If they would have said it from the start, I think, hey, guys, as soon as one guy gets it, the season's over. Like, how much time did we waste arguing about salaries and where we're going to play and bubbles, and then as soon as one person gets it or one team gets it, they're going to cancel everything? It's just aggravating to me that's what they're doing. And I'm sure it is to other fans, is that the way they're going to do this is cancel the whole thing on Monday. And that's, I don't know. LeBron don't look like he can win. Zion don't look like he's going to make the playoffs. I mean, to me, and now Adam Silver starts talking, we're going to cancel now, and nobody's got it. So, okay. So we'll see where that's going. Baseball, all of a sudden, the Disney's Angels are in dead last. Trout's not playing because his wife's having a baby. Oh, well, now we're talking about canceling it. So, we got these stars that they're putting out there, and then all of a sudden, when those guys aren't doing well, all of a sudden, Cardinals got 2 guys, we're going to shut a whole team down. To me, sit those guys in the hotel, whatever, like Hunter said, you got 60 people. I don't understand it. If that's what you want to do, fine. But they never said it from the beginning. And that's what's so frustrating, is that we're just shutting it down. And if that's fine, like I said, that's what the deal. But if you would have said from the beginning, hey, guys, we got one person, we'll shut it down, everybody would have known.
Yeah.
Now,
well,
it seems to me like we wasted so much time.
From St. Louis to Miami. Miami got so many people.
Right.
I mean, there's a huge difference there.
And they were the first team to get it.
Yeah.
See, the first one was bad. Like, if the first team would have just had one guy, I think it'd have been all right. But when wasn't it 2 coaches and 6 or 7
well,
players?
if that's the deal, why
didn't
they have 5 replacement players instead of 30? They've got 20. Replace them and get them out of there. It's not that. Jimmy Johnson was good in 2 days. What are the baseball players going to? How many Marlins are in the hospital right now of those 20?
See,
0.
I don't know. Like
0.
Were they asymptomatic?
Exactly.
Symptomatic? Like that didn't really come out, did it, Terry?
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
I didn't hear.
No, they don't know. They don't know nothing. All we do is get lied to. Our leading Fauci gets on TV and tells us every day. But the first thing he said was, "No mask, no, you don't need it. Regular people shouldn't have it." Then everybody should wear a mask. Then he sits there in a baseball stadium, shoulder to shoulder with somebody not wearing masks, shoulder to shoulder in a 40,000 seat stadium, not 1 seat apart from each other, not 2, shoulder to shoulder, no mask. Then he goes out there and he throws the first pitch. Did you notice what number he was wearing on the back of his jersey? 19. What? Come on. That's his number? That's his favorite number. Fauci 19. is the year 2020 if you want to do that. But dang it, they gave him 19 as in COVID-19. He's out there flouting in our faces. Now he's come out, Tom. I don't know if you said it this week. You better have your ski goggles and earplugs in now. He's advocating for goggles.
Why?
To keep the mucus out of your eyes. It's a mucus thing. He is literally, 2 days ago, you should wear goggles if you want to be better than the mask. So we keep step. Now you're going to be wearing ski goggles if you want to go to these games. And the information and that we're getting that across the board, none of it is consistent. It's so hard. It's frustrating. Like I said, there's no lines. There's no real rules. There's no nothing. We're running around like chickens with our heads cut off, and it seems like it's designed that way in a lot of this. Why in the world would you have 30 people on a roster instead of 5? If that's what you're going to deal with, well, we'll get 20's too many, we'll cut them. So if the Marlins are out, then you got to redo the whole schedule, right? Like you said, it's not fair that one team, if they're not in there, and you got to redo schedules, people's got to play other teams.
I just don't think you got enough room to fill it in, and I don't think they're going to be able to. And I know we keep talking about double headers and stuff like that, but you're not going to fill all them games in. Everybody's not going to have the same total number of games in Major League Baseball. If they do, hey, congratulations. I don't know how you did it. Let me see how you're going to do it. But I just don't think they will. I think some of them's going to play you 60. Then they're going to be some at 55 or 52 or something like that. And then you're going to fill in wherever you fell in that bottom bracket to either make the playoff or not make the playoff.
So one team, say they're 31-29. Say another team is 29-19. Which one makes the playoffs?
More than likely the 21-19.
29-19.
Yeah.
So you're going to say that, okay, so you would say but what about the other team? Well, you didn't have a chance to play all those games. We had to play more games. We had to use up our pitching. We had to blah, blah, blah.
Hey, that's how it's fit in. I mean, it's a one-year thing. I'm sorry.
Well, Tom,
that one's not going to fly.
To defend Terry a little bit on that, I'll defend him a little bit on this. Since they made 16 teams, anybody with a winning record is going to be. And if you're arguing about whether you're 8th or 9th, maybe you shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, but that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. I'm just telling you, if you come down and some of these teams are going to say,
Tom,
look,
if you have that many more games, then you should have been winning.
I don't think they should cancel them at all.
All I got to say
they had
is
to use their pitching. They had to suffer injuries. They had to play. They had to travel.
I don't think they should.
That's what they're going to say.
I don't think they should have to suspend any games. They can postpone it to maybe the next night when they can get the guys up from the other roster. If you can get to it fast enough.
But that's not what they're doing.
If you can get to it fast enough, nip it in the bud fast enough.
Miami suspended a whole week.
I think they want to kill the season. And what I'm worried about too is
you think that's on the owners thinking they just want to.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because remember, the first year there was a lot of
people didn't want to do this anyway.
They lose less money.
This is a convenient excuse to say we didn't really want to do this anyway, so let's kill it. But what's going to happen is this going to trickle on down to our local leaders. You know, Cleveland County Schools has got a meeting Monday night. Are they taking any of this information in, Terry? And
they're taking all of it.
Yeah.
And should we base our decision on that? Now, is Lincoln County, I believe, is doing like Cleveland County, the half remote.
Yes.
But Mecklenburg's all virtual. Burke County's virtual to the 14th of September.
Catawba.
Rutherford, Catawba, and a lot. And, you know, if you're Cleveland County Schools, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I'm not on the school board. I haven't talked to any of them, but you know they got to be taking this information in. What about the Queens College? Just went to all virtual, Terry. Go ahead.
If you are, I'm going to take for instance, let's say the Miami Marlins, and you've already shut them down for a week. So you come up and you realize, okay, now we don't have a chance of winning this. I'm just going to shut my team down. Does Major League Baseball have something against you doing that to prevent your team from getting this disease? I mean, can we just all of a sudden say, you know what, that's the end of it. It's only 60 games. I'm shutting this team down. Then you know I'm not going to be able to make up all them games. Everybody that's got to play them is not going to make up all of them games that they've got to play with them. Can the Major League Baseball owners do that? Could you sit back and say, I'm out of it? I can't win it anyway?
I thought it was up to the commissioner. I thought the commissioner could shut it
down. Well, the commissioner can shut everything down if he wants.
Yeah.
As for just a single team, I don't know. if the ownership, let's say, because for the Marlins, I don't know if Derek Jeter can just come out and say we're shutting this down, him and his ownership group. Because I know what you mean, Terry.
You might lose your sponsors.
If you shut it down for this season, technically that means everybody loses the same amount of games against the Marlins.
It's not all teams.
It's
Some
not
teams
all
won't even
teams.
be playing them.
That's right. But the teams that are hurt worst from that are the ones within their division, and that because they were going to play them 4 or 5 times this year.
How about this? If you didn't play, you're the team that got sick. You have to forfeit the game. That'd skew the records, wouldn't it, Terry?
Yeah.
The Marlins have to forfeit all those games. So,
or if I didn't like you, this is what I'm going to do to make sure you're not in.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a mess, and I think Kevin was on to something that maybe this is something he didn't want to do in the first place. It took him forever to come up with the number of games, right? Oh, we got to work out the game. We got to work out the salary, blah, blah, blah. Oh, a couple teams got corona. Looks like we're going to have to kill this boy. Sorry, bad idea.
Well, I'll say this right now. If they're going to kill it, they got to do it now. I would expect if they're going to kill it, they need to let us know by next week.
Yeah, and it's sad
because there's no point in them getting into double-digit playing games, maybe closer to 20. Maybe and hell, have them get that like they've already played 30 games half the season, and then you were to come out and say we're getting ready to nix it. There's no way. If you do something like that, you always got to just nip it in the bud as early as possible.
I was enjoying it too. That's my summertime thing.
Well, I'm
going
going to be something else too. We talk about this about Major League Baseball. That's like the NBA. Is that legit what we're doing down there? We started our season back. I saw Kemba Walker sitting on our bench more than he was out on the court. I mean, against Milwaukee last night. I mean, I'm like, if these games mean anything,
they don't mean anything. We talked about,
they do not.
We
Those
talked about
first
this
8
Thursday.
in the NBA don't.
Well, we talked about this Wednesday. Hunter and I did, Terry, that if you're already in the playoffs, there's no reason for you to be playing your starters
Well,
at
I
all right
agree.
now.
That's what happened.
Because there's no home
He's
court.
set
There's
out.
no home court advantage. So why are you trying to? The Pelicans aren't even trying to make it. Did you see what they're sitting Zion at the end? They said we're sitting him at the end of every quarter.
Well, I know he only scored
End of
13 points
every
in
quarter.
15 minutes or something like that. That's all he played.
End of every quarter. Okay, that sounds very suspicious. Okay,
I mean,
that means
that's
that
what
means
I'm
that's the end of the
saying.
game too. For
They did that.
not keeping
Remember
up.
but they did that with Jordan and his injury. Remember way back because that was in the
Yes.
documentary.
Yeah, but
he
I
could only
don't.
play
But the
he
crazy
could only
thing
play
is,
so
you
much.
know, Zion's just not injured. I don't know.
No, but they
this is just
specifically
weird.
said he's not playing the last 2 minutes of every quarter, which means the end of the game, no matter if it's close or not. And that's what the coach says. Al Gentry's like, yeah, we're not playing him at the end of quarters.
So why are we
whether
down
you're
here
resting or not, I'm
playing
sure
these 8
Jordan still
games?
played the last minute of the game.
No, but it was like that one last minute where he begged to get back in, something like that.
There was one game, they were out.
I don't know.
He was out of minutes.
Yeah. It's one of these things where
Well,
if
then the
you-
playoffs started, and he said,
if you
"F
look
that."
at the NBA, there are going to be some teams obviously that are taking it more serious than others. Especially if you're a top 4 seed, I agree. Why are you playing your starters unless you're just trying to jump somebody? You maybe look at the Clippers maybe not playing as hard because they know that they're already solidified, and you say, oh well, this is my chance to maybe gain up a little bit on them if you're the
get
3
a little
or
bit
4
easier
seed.
series in the first round.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird, and if you just switch back to the baseball thing though too.
Who wants Portland in the first round? Or
Nobody wants
second round?
Portland in the
Who
first
wants Portland
round.
at all?
But with the baseball thing, I think that the players are trying as hard as they can because they really did want to get this season in. I think the players wanted to play.
Yeah.
The players wanted to play. They just wanted to make sure that everything was lined up in place for their safety. And technically it was. I mean, that's what I've been saying this whole time is you agreed to something. I've even seen, and I'll go back to that. Nick Markakis was scared out of his mind to come play because, well, he didn't really want to play because there were no fans. And then 2, Freddie Freeman called it. Well, guess what? Freddie Freeman came back and was like, well, I'm playing anyways. And Markakis, after a few games, said, oh, I think I can go play. So
Hunter, we
you
discussed this
understood the risk.
Right. Hunter, real quick. We discussed this for weeks and weeks and weeks up into the season.
Right.
And not once did they, they told us the 30 people, and not once did they say, guys, they get 2 people, we're just going to start canceling games. Those words never come out of anybody's mouth.
No,
they said
never,
we're going to replace players when they went out.
I don't know, because it's just one of those things where, I mean, this might be a bad analogy, but I don't really think it is. It's like you go up to somebody who smokes maybe a carton of cigarettes a day, and you say, why, that's going to give you cancer. You have the opportunity of getting lung cancer if you keep doing that. And they just look at you and take a big old puff and blow it in your face and say, well, I know that. They know the risks.
Yeah, they do.
And they just continue to sign up and do it. The MLB knew the risk. I'm not just going to put this on the players. The commissioner and the owners knew the risk. And guess what? We had an agreement. We went forward. We set it up with the 60-man taxi roster. I keep harping on that because, like, what was the point of even telling those guys basically that you're on call? Essentially, you're on call on season. If we need you, we're going to come and grab you, and you better be ready to come up and perform. Like, what was the reason for that if you're just going to not use them?
I just feel
you know
like
what I'm saying?
I feel like we've been lied to a lot.
That's like having a car, but instead always calling your buddy to say, hey, can I ride with you?
Well, let's look over some fun things in baseball real quick, I guess. Let's look at stats and standings.
While we can.
If the playoffs started today,
let's just do it today.
Yankees, Orioles, Rays, Twins, Indians, Tigers, Astros, and Mariners are in the playoffs.
The Mariners.
The Golden Boy and the Los Angeles Angels have the worst record in baseball. They have 2 wins, Terry. In his 2 wins, Mike Trout is 1 for 9. He scored 1 run when the team was already up 3 runs on a home run from Rendon. So if I do my math right in WAR, that means he's -2 because the 2 wins he didn't help, and any replacement player would have won those 2 games, right? Is that how WAR works?
I have no idea how WAR works.
So as far as I
don't think
know,
anybody
Well,
does.
the only
Yeah, they
2
did.
wins,
Do you not see it the other day?
the only 2
They showed
wins
it.
the Angels
Where?
have, and he didn't help at all. So don't give me that crap no more.
They
MVP,
showed
they're 2
Ward
and 6.
the other day, and Mike Trout is so far ahead of the second place guy, which is Ty Cobb, that it's not even close.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Terry, because he's like 150th in WAR.
Well, his award
talking about-
thing was like 752,
That's probably, dang, that sounds like
and
a
the next
total.
guy
That's
was
not-
like
that's
6
not.
something.
I don't know what Terry's looking at, but that's not the WAR.
Well, I'm just telling you what was shown.
But I'm telling you, you misread it.
What's his batting average with men in scoring position? That's what I want to know. That's other crap.
Tom, did you know that I've told you
I
that?
know.
That people say, and the advanced stats show
I don't care.
that is not an actual stat at all. That's what they'll say. They'll say because every player gets the same batting average with runners in scoring position or not. And I don't believe it because I've seen plenty of players go backside and get an out, moving up runners and scoring runs. That is not accounted for.
What is your slugging percentage with men on base? That's what I don't care about all this other stuff, you know?
I mean, they don't even take into consideration
Mike Trout is on
RBI.
top.
They don't even take into consideration RBIs, and I don't understand why.
Well,
what is your average with 2 strikes?
So I'm
I
looking
mean,
at, I'm looking at
was
this year's.
That's-
Kansas
that's
City
what's
not
more
in the
important.
playoff?
No, I'm looking at this year's.
We'd have been 4-4 if we'd have won last night.
Yeah, there you go.
Another 1-run loss for us.
If a hoppy toe had wings, Terry, he wouldn't bump his butt
Hey,
every
we're
time he
3-5,
jumped.
and we've got a lot of 1-run losses.
But explain this to me, someone. Last fun point on WAR. So, Atlanta Braves have played 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think y'all have played the most in baseball. Y'all ain't missed a day.
well, they're
Padres
5
have
and
played
3.
8.
Cleveland's played 8.
A couple
They're
of them
5
played 8.
and 3.
About 10 of them played 8
I didn't
games.
think we were going to win last night either.
Y'all in the playoffs right now, Tom?
Yes, we are.
I'm looking at this year's
Are y'all?
stats.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Nope.
We going to be.
No.
So I'm looking at this year's stats that list runs, hits, average doubles, triples, homers, RBIs, total bases, walks, Ks, strikeouts, on base slugging, OPS, which is add them together, and WAR. Well, there's numbers next to every one of them stats, but right now, every single person in baseball's WAR is 0.0. How? You've played 8 games. Shouldn't people have some? Shouldn't people have anything? When does that kick in? Is it only a 15-game thing? Do the high school coaches be like, all right, guys, hopefully at the end of the year our WARs will be good? I mean, what is this stat? I'm looking at the stat sheet, Hunter. You see it. It
Yeah.
says clearly across the board, every stat is accounted for, and everyone has 0 in that. And that's incredible. All right, but that's what we base MVPs on now. Something that isn't even a thing after 8 games. Well, Miguel Rojas is leading baseball in hitting, batting .700. He's 7 for 10. The highest batting average with more than 20 at bats is San Francisco's Donovan Solano, 458. We kind of talked before the season are we going to have multiple people hit 400? Right now there are 11 batters over 400. Third is LeMahieu, or is it Matthew from the Yankees? I'm sure I made a Yankees fan mad with that.
What's he bat?
455.
Yeah,
with
455.
Kyle Lewis of Seattle, 455. Hanser Alberto of Baltimore, 440. Cleveland's Jose Ramirez is batting 429. Detroit's Jacoby Jones, there's JP, All right, that's from Walmart mask. All right. Well, anything works, right? Over the.
Yeah. Face cover.
I mean, any type
all
of
you gotta
covering
have.
works. I mean, what do you do?
What can you say?
JP, you see that in there? He's coming in. There's his mask for Walmart. It's a picture of JP printed out on a piece of paper. But I get
I am going to jail now.
Yeah, that works just
Yeah.
as good as cloth, I would imagine. Trees are stronger than cotton, right, Tom? Redwood trees stronger than cotton. Is that how the math science works?
I have nothing to say on this matter.
Jacoby Jones of Detroit, I thought he was a wide receiver, is batting .423. Stanton, Giancarlo, .421.
He's come out on a tear.
Mike Yastrzemski, Yaz is back. He's batting .414 in San Francisco. San Francisco's got two guys over 400. And Michael Brantley at .407. And the Angels' David Fletcher, the only person on the team that's any good, is batting .400. Home runs. Oh, Nelson Cruz is smacking them, ain't he?
He was on pace for 60?
Well, he's got 3 now. He's backed up. So leading is Vasquez in Boston, Moran in Pittsburgh, and Hernandez. Now, it's got it listed as Toronto. I wrote on my sheet for the KTC broadcasting schedule, I wrote the Buffalo Blue Jays. Is that not more accurate?
Terry, can
Why are
they
they
not
still
say
called
that?
Toronto?
No.
They're playing in Buffalo. But here, no, seriously.
No.
If the Blue Jays, and this is a hypothetical, if the Blue Jays win the World Series, can they not just have a parade in Buffalo and not in Toronto? They kicked them out.
No.
Toronto kicked the country kicked them out.
So you're standing by Canada's decision to kick out the Blue Jays, but they have to keep their name?
Exactly.
The logic that comes out sometimes on this show.
The Buffalo hey,
Blue Jays. I'm not calling them Toronto because they're not in
You
Toronto. There's
are
nothing in Toronto. They've been
You
kicked
will
out of the
always
country.
be Toronto. Did Buffalo buy you out?
They were kicked out of the Buffalo. Yeah, they accepted them to their home. Terry,
Yeah,
who gets accepted into a home? Who gets kicked out of a home? Put up for adoption, and then says, "Well, I'm gonna go keep those guys' names instead of
Have
my
the
new
Canadians
parents' names."
completely just banned Americans like Europe?
Yeah, they said dirty
Yeah, you
American.
cannot
I don't know
go
about the
over.
total.
So Americans cannot go to Canada right now.
Tom, I just read one
Cannot.
person in Canada. One person in Canada this year under the age of 20 has died of corona. One. Now, if you want to take that into consideration, this is barking up another tree, but 430,000 children go missing in America every year. 430,000 and one kid died in Canada, and we're not playing baseball in Canada. So the priorities on some of this is maybe we should do some other stuff, and we can you can go down those roads, but that's not what this show's for. But some of this is just insane, the things that we do for this.
It's not on account of that. It's everybody that's going to come over. I mean, there's a lot of
There- you
teams
mean-
coming.
Yeah.
There's the problem. And then you give over there and you give it to somebody else. Next thing you know,
Do you
they
know
got a
what-
And
pandemic.
nobody dies.
Do you know,
nobody's in the
uh,
hospital. Not one single Marlins in the
Do
hospital.
we know
they got
if-
20? Shouldn't there be at least one or two? That's what I want to know. If you got 20 people, why is not one of them in the hospital? They're not. They're sitting in hotels. They're waiting for the replacements to get there and not play Monday. So again, Hunter, how serious?
Well, I'm
Is
just
it?
saying this. It's for baseball. Do they not what are the rules that they have implemented in for the players when they're not playing games? Because if you're just supposed to show up, go to work, and then go home, really, where in the middle of that, unless your family went out and contracted it, how did you contract it yourself? I know it's tough because they're not in a bubble like the
Maybe
NBA
they went to
is.
Magic City like Lou
Maybe
Williams.
maybe they took an old trip to Magic City, but it's just strange to me how you could maybe have just this. You could seriously, this is the one season if you want total rule to just tell the players what they can and cannot do. Tell them you go to work and you go home, and that's it. Because I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, well, who was the first person to contract it for the Marlins? Because it seems to me that they can just trace this stuff from everywhere now. They can look back and say, oh, well, he was here and he caught it here. And I'm sitting there like, well, do that and go to him and say, first of all, the season is now in jeopardy because of something stupid that you did. And this, I'm not saying to ostracize him, the player, but I'm saying we're going to use you as an example for what the rest of the league is not supposed to do. Don't go out to strip clubs in Miami.
Idiot. Don't be like this idiot.
Yeah, don't be like this idiot. They're going to send a little info video out, and it's going to be in black and white. They're going to be like, you see this guy? Don't be like Timmy.
Well, look, I just doing reading. Americans are currently on the no travel list to Canada. but not to Mexico. Although Mexico has closed their border with the United States.
Well, Tom, in Georgia, we just had a funeral for someone that a ton of politicians showed up. But in Washington, D.C. and Georgia, you have to mandatory for 14 days. Are any of those folks going to quarantine?
What do you mean?
Georgia is on Washington, D.C. Mayor Bowser's list of states that require a 2-week mandatory quarantine for 14 days. We just had a big, giant state funeral for John Lewis in Georgia with tons of politicians there in the room. And are they going to quarantine for 14 days? Because, you know, our leaders have a great job of making rules for thee and not, or rules for me and not for thee. So that one is another one. Like I said, none of it makes sense. We want to speculate. We want to talk about all this. And it makes people say things that either don't add up or don't make sense or may not, because we don't know. It's so aggravating. So let's finish up baseball here, and then we'll get into some other stuff. We're going to have some fun here today a little bit besides this. Couple of things, like I said, standings. I didn't do the National League. Padres, Rockies, Dodgers, Giants, Brewers, Cubs, Braves, and Marlins are the 8 teams over 500 right now. Best record in the National League is the San Diego Padres.
Who'd have friggin' thought?
Who had the Dodgers in third? Raise your hand. Nobody? No, nobody.
That was
Dodgers are in third.
If I'm not
place.
mistaken, that was that network's pick to make the World Series against the Yankees. The only one of those two.
Didn't we do picks where people had the Angels winning the World Series?
I don't know about. I don't know about
winning
winning the World Series, but I know about them making. I know them making the playoffs.
Had them winning it.
Y'all must have did that during podcasts.
Probably.
Terry.
Because I had the Padres in. I did have them in. I had that on this.
We're gonna
piece of
have to
paper
check
right
the
here.
tape.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna have to check
You're
the tape.
gonna have to check that.
Check the tape.
Get a replay.
Well, I do know, Terry, you had Kansas City in. They're 3
I
and
did
5.
have Kansas. They're 3-5.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not mad at that. We've got a lot of 1-run losses that we've got to change.
You know what a 1-run loss counts as?
Is
a loss.
It is. But even with y'all's 5-3 and we 3-5, we're only 2 games back, Tom. So we might be eliminated right now.
But they beat you twice, so
Terry, I hate to tell you, but if it continues,
Well,
you
I
might be
remember when
eliminated
people
for
were in here
good.
saying Detroit was terrible, but Detroit has the same record as Cleveland.
But I don't know how. I guess this
And
is
then when people were talking about strikeouts, and I heard all this about strikeouts,
Justin
and
Bieber
then
has
when
27
you
Ks right
look
now.
at the standings, who are the teams that lead the Major League Baseball in strikeouts? Detroit, and they're 5-3, and Atlanta.
Yeah, it's because
Padres had the most runs scored in
I feel like half
baseball.
of Atlanta's blind right now in this lineup.
Who had the Rockies with some of the least number of runs scored in baseball, but they've give up only 17 runs on the season. The Marlins have only give up 15.
A Story kid for the Rockies
There's
is
your-
dang good.
There's Trevor Story.
He's,
So there's
he's been good.
There's your two best pitching
He's young too.
teams by that. Let's see. Cardinals have give up 19.
We talked about that
Phillies,
Wednesday.
17.
We talked about that Wednesday on the podcast.
Indians,
Rob
19.
brought up a good point. He said, why is baseball not promoting more of this young talent? And I told him, I says, because the young talent is not on your major market teams. Story plays for the Rockies. Even though we know in media Atlanta is a top 10 market, in sports it's considered really not a top market. But Ronald Acuna, he kind of has pushed forward. Milwaukee, Christian Yelich is young, and they don't really.
Trey Turner, shortstop.
Trey
from
Turner
Washington.
is very good, for Washington, and yet they continue to push out Mike Trout because he's in LA, and I know that ESPN or Disney, who owns ESPN, owns
His WAR
the
is good.
Angels. His WAR is
They
really
showed
good. They keep pushing that, but and then they'll push Judge. They push Aaron Judge, and because he's a Yankee, and they push everybody that's a Yankee. They don't look around the league. I mean, they don't give what's his name for the Cleveland as much love as they should. Homie that y'all are afraid to lose to when his contract comes up.
Oh, Lindor.
That's right. They don't give Lindor as much credit. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for the Cubs winning it a few years ago, you haven't heard Chris Bryant's name brought up anymore. I mean, they just don't show love for it's like Midwest. Or if it's like I said, if it's not an LA or a New York team and you're not a young stud, they just aren't giving you respect.
Or Boston.
Who leads each division, Kevin?
That would be the Yankees, Twins, Astros, Cubs, Padres, and Bravos.
Okay.
Braves are for now. For now. We'll see how this goes come next week. I feel like we'll be having a few announcements, if not Monday, Tuesday. I don't know what day Rob Manfred gets on his Zoom call with all of his owners to discuss certain things, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are going to be some questions and some very hard...
We might not even be talking about baseball anymore after Monday. Do you want to say hello again, once again, to our Friendship Chrysler,
Yes.
Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan new sponsors? It's two different places, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and the Friendship Nissan, both on Oak Street Extension in Forest City. Sales manager Thomas Borgelli listens every morning. Terry, driving from, he lives in Lincoln and he drives to Forest City, listens to us in the morning. So hello, Thomas. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us, and hope we can kind of do you guys proud. And you guys sell some cars today, and we'll be promoting you guys as much as we can.
And don't forget them numbers now.
Yep.
I mean, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, 828-919-3001. And the Friendship Nissan is at 828-245-1661.
Yeah, work over there a little bit in Forest City. They got a good selection over there. Pass those businesses all the time, so go out and see them.
Have you seen? All right, final note on the baseball. Have you seen where one of the baseball writers of America, or one of these yahoos on the internet, has come out and he's proposing that, and you guys are gonna hate this, that baseball should just cut everybody but the top 8 biggest markets and just play a tournament with those 8 teams.
It's the dumbest thing.
The
I've
biggest
ever heard.
market.
Yeah,
Biggest market.
this was it. They wrote a whole story, put it on the internet.
Okay, well,
It's
This is the equivalent of shut the small businesses down, but you can still
That's
order
exactly
from
what
Amazon.
he said. He said it was going to be Yankees, Mets,
I was going to say, there's three teams in L.A., 2 in New
Angels,
York.
Dodgers, Giants, Astros. Then he said Cardinals, and I can't remember the last one. But either way,
That's a great idea.
that's just the dumbest thing.
Let's shut all the small businesses down and make sure you buy from Amazon.
Honestly, I
That's
can't
great
believe
for the
Cardinals even
economy.
made the list.
I'm so confused. They don't consider Miami a big market?
I think they was using most popular teams kind of too.
Oh, I
on
was about to
that
say-
one.
Miami,
That's
nobody
why the
goes to the
Cardinals
game.
were involved in
Nobody
it
goes to
all
the
because it
game.
wasn't a big market.
Yeah, but still, city-wise, is a big
But-
market.
Maybe
but-
TV
city.
market.
But market means people actually are going to the market and purchasing your service, which the people in Miami are not doing.
Yeah, they're too busy.
They're too busy at the
Flaunting
beach.
that
All right,
shit.
JP,
beach.
you ready for a break? We come back. We're gonna talk a little high school football. I got a little proposal idea for you folks, and we'll see how that works on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could go look at a new car or truck and you didn't have to worry about getting caught up in those games that waste half your day? Well, Friendship Nissan and Friendship Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Forest City is different because we're fast, easy, and transparent. We have over 300 new and used vehicles on the ground with clear choice pricing and the region's only non-commissioned sales force, and a free lifetime warranty on every new car. You better believe Friendship Nissan and Friendship Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram is different, and you can find us in Forest City.
Looking for a new car? Maybe a pre-owned car or truck, or maybe an SUV? Then let your fingers do the walking and go to whatsupshopper.com. Local dealers with local vehicles. You don't have to drive all over the country. Just click on whatsupshopper.com and take a look at the local selection of cars, trucks, SUVs, and more from local dealers in Gaston, Cleveland, and Lincoln counties. Car shopping just got easier by going to whatsupshopper.com. Pick yours out today. Plumbing problems? Well, if you're not an expert plumber, then we invite you to call the Expert Plumbers. That's Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City. Just call 828-245-7302. Recommended since 1973. From faucets to sinks to toilets, from sewer and drains to well pumps, from dishwashers to disposals to bathroom remodeling, residential and commercial, new homes too. Don't let your plumbing problems drive you plumb crazy. Call Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City, 828-245-7302, or visit the website at olmstedplumbing.com.
It's time to play at the Green Meadows Golf Course on Kelly Road in Mount Holly. Play and ride Monday through Friday for $25. Weekends just $30. Seniors ride and play Monday through Friday for $20. And every Wednesday is Ladies' Day. Ladies play and ride for just $15. So make your tee time now by calling the Green Meadows Golf Course, 704-827-9264. Green Meadows Golf Course, 957 Kelly Road in Mount Holly. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. for our Sunday morning worship services. On WCSL 1590 AM and 92.3 FM, it's the Sunday morning service of First Baptist Church in Cherryville. On WLON 1050 AM and 107.5 FM, it's the Sunday service of the Covenant Bible Church in Lincolnton. And on WOHS 1390 AM and 101.5 FM, it's the Sunday service of the Calvary Baptist Church of Shelby. Join us each and every Sunday morning for our Sunday morning worship services on The Boss and Carolina Country.
Take advantage of a special offer on the versatile Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor. Switching attachments is simple, and a smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation. The Kubota BX Series, the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. You own the land. Now, make it yours. Get the Kubota BX 2380 for payments as low as $99 a month.
Your Kubota dealer is Parker Farm Service, 126 Bessie Drive, off Highway 74 at Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain.
And we're back on Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the guys with Mitchum's Kitchen Breakfast.
Morning, JP.
Morning.
I've got some fancy notes here that Tom hates right now, but we're going to get to that because I didn't.
Tom basically told on himself a second ago.
He admitted he didn't watch the show. Wednesday.
He didn't watch
I
Wednesday.
told him. Why?
All right. So
I just
the
giving you a
fellas-
hard time, Tom.
the-
Teach the children of America.
the fellas in front of me have two sheets of paper in front of them, and one of them is the last year's ADM numbers. For you high school folks, that means how many kids are pretty much registered at school, I guess, is how they do that. That includes girls, boys, frogs, whatever you want to call yourself. That's how many people take classes at these schools. Now, high school football, my proposal, we talked with Rob a little bit about on Wednesday, has
He
been
was very avid of
we've
it.
talked
He
about
liked it.
in the past about maybe doing football only conferences for competition, travel wise, and other thing. Because think about it, let's say if you're Cherville, and when you play all these other sports and everything, you're going to, Union County for a volleyball game. So this is kind of maybe looking into cut on some travel, make some fairness in football. Really where I'm kind of going with this is putting the football teams together in a way that makes it more fair than what it is now. So in college, you volunteer in intramurals. Your team, you tell them how good your team is, 1A, 2A, or 3A, which basically means 1A is just beginners right here for having fun. 2A will be pretty competitive. Some of us are pretty good, but we're not like really good. And the 3A teams are the guys and players that actually played those sports in high school where they're actually pretty
They
good.
just didn't
It's
make
very
it
competitive.
NFL. They just didn't make a college roster to get ready to come out here and dunk on kids.
So you volunteer that information. Well, in high school, we put these teams in these schools together. And I understand if you're doing it for every sport, maybe that makes a little bit more sense. But I want to do football-only conferences. So looking at that, and the reason for it, I want better competition. I've been on the ends of 55-0 and 55-7 Drummonds from Shelby in the Kings Mountains playing at Bessemer and Cherville. The only thing we're out there doing is surviving. I'm trying not to get hurt. Because already 4 or 5 guys have already not played this week because they got Shelby-itis or Kings Mountain-itis, and that means they just don't want to get hurt either. And so the ones that do want to play are out here, surviving. So what I did was looking at the ADM numbers. I said, well, let's look a little bit more in depth at these schools and these numbers. So guys, on your sheets, I have a list that says our area schools. For the most part, those are Gaston, Lincoln, Cleveland, and Rutherford County schools. Those numbers next to it are the numbers listed by Max Preps of football players on their roster, varsity football players. My proposal is to, instead of doing ADM numbers, do total football players in your program. And that's how you separate what level you're on, whether it's 1A, 2A, 3A, or 4A. Because when you look at these numbers, and we'll get into more in depth on it, it kind of weighs out that that's what it would look like. So the big problem I had is I don't have JV numbers. So what I did, if you guys see the JV adjusted list here, is all I did was add 20 players. I know there's going to be more if they got a JV team, but I added 20 players to each one. Some of these teams I knew didn't have a JV team, so I didn't add them onto them. I didn't add them on the charters because I'm not 100% sure if they did. So those numbers are still the same in that area. So if you look at this, and it's really crazy. I'm going to go down the list of varsity football players on each team. Okay, so on the left side, we're going to go South Point has the most in our area with 60 varsity players. Crest 58, Shelby 56, Kings Mountain 54, Burns 49. Now, Terry, stay with me. Those 5 schools there at the top with the most numbers, have they all won state championships?
Yes.
Do they all compete every year for state championships?
Most.
Right. All right. The next few on the list: 49 at Stuart Kramer, 48 at North Lincoln, 48 at Mountain Island, 47 at Hunter Huss, 46 at Chase, 45 West Lincoln and East Lincoln, Forest View 44, East Rutherford 43, Thomas Jefferson 42, Lincoln 40, Cherryville 39, RS Central 38, North Gaston 33, East Gaston 33, Highland Tech 28, and ladies and gentlemen, Ashbrook 26, Bessemer City 25. You heard that right. Ashbrook only had 26 people in their varsity last year. They're 3A classified. They're number 51st biggest 3A in the state with 1,275 students. Bessemer City has 622 students, roughly double, and they have the same number of football players. Ashbrook has 26 varsity football players, and then over in their people that they play with, look at AC Reynolds, which AC Reynolds has 70, right at 70 more students. That's all. And they have 69 football players. 3 times almost as many as Ashbrook football players. Now, if you have 1,500 people in your school and 1,400 of them are girls and only 100 of them are boys, you're going to have a smaller football team. Now, I know that's not how this math works out as far as boys and girls, but my point is, if you do it more by football population, you get better, more competitive conferences as opposed to the Shelbys playing in 2A, winning a state championship 46-0, and then beating RS, East Rutherford, all these other 2As in East Gaston have no business playing them. So if we move over, guys, to the JV adjusted one, these would be our new conferences based on total football players in the program, and see how competitive fun these would be. So the big conference would be South Point, Crest, Shelby, Kings Mountain, Burns, Kramer, North Lincoln, and Hunter Huss. Terry, that'd be a pretty good football conference.
Yeah, should be.
Would that be one of the best in the state, if not the best in the state, especially
Probably
at the 3A
be
level?
the best in the state.
Now, I'm going to say that again. This is football numbers. Instead of just counting girls and other people in the school, South Point, Crest, Shelby, Kings Mountain, Burns, Stuart Kramer, North Lincoln, and Hunter Huss. That would be the top one. Then let's look at the middle conference. Terry, how competitive would this be? Would this be more competitive for you guys? Chase, West Lincoln, East Lincoln, Forest View, East Rutherford, Lincoln, RS Central, and North Gaston. Chase, West, East, and Lincoln, Forest View, East Rutherford, RS Central, North Gaston. So basically Lincoln County minus North and Rutherford County, and then North Gaston in there. So that would be the middle conference. And then the bottom with the least number of people on their football rosters, East Gaston, Mountain Island Charter, Ashbrook, Thomas Jefferson, Cherryville, Highland Tech, and Bessemer City.
Well, you could definitely see how just looking at these numbers, you could see how the charter schools recruit athletes. I mean,
Right.
You look at Thomas Jefferson, more than 10% of their student population is on the football team.
That's the number you should look at. That's a great.
And
I'm glad
if
Tom
you-
pulled up the percentages.
If you look at Mountain Island Charter,
yeah,
they're almost 10%. But it's all about education, Terry.
It is.
It's all about education.
And Ashbrook with 1,275 students, only 26 of them played football.
And then put 2 and 2 together. Why does Ashbrook have so few? But Mountain Island, a school that's not even half the size, has double the football players. Perhaps they've been recruited away.
Well, Tom, if you'll, the easy thing to look is to look at that for that, but also with Ashbrook concerned, look at Huss. This is the same district, same lines. They just moved across the street.
Yeah,
they have Huss has Huss has
47
total players. Ashbrook has 26. Huss, we know, have been really good in basketball lately too, Tommy. And Ashbrook really hasn't since they made that state championship a few years ago. 21 players pretty much in the same football playing district other than on Huss. So if you look at that, Terry, how many people play on football team on each side? 11?
It's true.
So Hunter Huss has a whole starting lineup more than Ashbrook does. And they have, as far as students goes, Hunter Huss, is where are they on my list of total students?
And I hate it didn't work out for Brian.
Plus has 200 less students than Ashbrook, and they have twice as many football players.
I just hate it didn't work out for Brian Andrews at Ashbrook because he's really a great teacher, great coach. I began my teaching career. He and I were at WC Friday together 23 years ago. We started. I mean, just he's overcome a lot in his life, because he had the one prosthetic arm, but he still played college football. I mean, he's a winner. I mean, he's a great family man. He's a great teacher. I just hate it didn't work because he waited a long time for that opportunity. He had been at South Point for a long time. And I know that, and I just hope that anybody who knows Brian knows that that's not a reflection on him because he's a great guy, great person. And I wish him well in his future endeavors. But that is kind of just shocking to see 26 players on Ashbrook's team.
It's on a 3A school, 26 people. I mean, Bessemer has 25. Okay, look over to Asheville, guys. Look over in the far right corner. Asheville High School has 1,375 students. AC Reynolds has 1,344. So Asheville has 30 more students than AC Reynolds. AC Reynolds, though, has 35, almost exactly double the football players that Asheville has. 69 players for AC Reynolds. That's the most on this list of high school players on a varsity roster. Asheville with 34. Same city, almost exact same number of student population, but the football population isn't even close, and obviously they're not the same on the football field as well. So with all this said, I've given y'all guys some information, trying to get a little bit in you. Should they look to do something more to this like this across the state? And what you could do would go off last year's numbers. Teams have to report their rosters, varsity and JV, and then you go off last year's total numbers, and then go by the programs. And then if you do that, you'll have more competitive football across the conferences, across the state. You'll have Shelby competing in the state playoffs. Think about this, guys. That conference alone, South Point, Crest, Shelby, Kings Mountain, Burns, Kramer, North Lincoln, and Huss. That's the last two rounds of the playoffs in the West 3A. I mean, that's it. Those are the teams, and they're all would be in the same conference right there. And then of course in the 2A you'd have Chase, West, East, Lincoln, and Forest East Rutherford. But looking across that, Terry, you've been watching this for years. I'm just trying to, I was trying to come up with a way, as opposed to counting girls and every other people that don't play football in the school, actually count the football players and do it on a basis kind of like we do in Aaron Reynolds, to where and the numbers point out to it. The more football players it seems, the better you are at the game. It's just a numbers game. So, like I said, for the Asheville thing, guys, I mean, they've got 30-some football players. That's a whole nother team. You can't compete with that on the numbers-wise. And they're in the same conference, same division, same everything, Terry. So what do you think, kind of looking at it as a different way as opposed to counting girls and other people that don't actually play football and looking at football?
I mean, a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, you're putting the elite with the elite, in football. That's what you're doing. And then your middle part, which would be Chase, West Lincoln, all them, and then you'd go, down to Cherville and all that. But, I mean, is that how you're supposed to look at it? Nah, not really. I mean, because people like Cherville, Highland Tech, Bessemer City, they don't want to be up there playing No Crest and Shelby and people like that, because it's like what you were saying. We're just trying to survive to the next week, I don't know. When you think of Ashbrook, I mean, throwing Ashbrook all the way down there with that bottom group, I mean, they're probably going to take that offensive. For throwing them down there.
Well, I'm not worried about anyone's feelings on this. Bessemer's been beating North Lincoln the last few years. They've went back and forth. They've rotated, one win. North Lincoln's moved up to 48 players. This year, would Bessemer have beat Ashbrook, Terry? Like, don't whine about, I'm going to hurt my feelings and then go get whipped on the football field. You can't say my feelings are going to hurt and then actually get beat. Would Thomas Jefferson have beaten Ashbrook this year?
Yes.
You think so? You really think so? See, I don't know. When I think of stuff like that, I think of athlete for athlete. I mean, I can take a guy who's very athletic.
Well, why would
and put
Ashbrook's
him
26 athletes be better than Bessemer's 25 athletes?
Shouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying. So
Should
the numbers.
not be,
that's what I'm saying. As far as the numbers match up, if Ashbrook's 26 athletes were so good, they wouldn't have been 2-8 last year.
I mean, it's tough too.
Depends on your competition.
It is tough too when you say athlete for athlete, and you playing a team that has 25 extra athletes behind. They're already starting 22 athletes. That's tough. I like this proposal just because it does make a little bit more sense. As that's one thing I feel like when we come in here and we do the Friday pregame show, we always look on the board and we're like, okay, well, this is going to be a blowout. This is going to be a blowout. This is going to be a blowout.
You could almost pick teams strictly on these numbers. You could almost pick these games strictly on, well, Huss has got 47, Lincoln's got 40, I'm picking Huss tonight. You could almost do that. And I don't think that should – you can't do that in other sports. You can't do that in baseball, basketball, and these other sports because you need one or two guys that are ballers that could win a game for you. And then the numbers, just the fact, Terry, of having so many extra, like, you'll have a whole offense that isn't even, or defense that isn't even playing.
Oh, and I agree because, there's times that we do come in here, Hunter, and we'll say, what's your final score? 70-0.
Yeah.
I don't like
we
those
just
games.
essentially they shouldn't even get off the bus, but they're
going
to have
games.
to.
Well, okay, Terry,
I remember last year the team was getting ready to go play Kings Mountain. I felt bad, but I said, do they really have to go?
I know, right?
I was like, do you really? I think it was it was either North or East Gaston, just because I knew that they struggled. And I said, do you really have to go?
Well, let's look at those three conferences that I adjusted for a second. Let's look at the top one. In that conference, who's getting blown out? North maybe and Kramer by Shelby and Kings?
No, that's well, if I had to pick, I would go down through there.
The weakest
and this
one
is
might.
bad. Because you're taking North Lincoln and saying, well, they're going to get blown out. Well, there's the top in their conference.
Right. But North could beat Stuart Kramer. North could beat Burns. North could beat South Point. But again, Shelby's going to beat them better. A Shelby North Lincoln game would be better than Shelby RS Central, right?
Yeah, should be.
So that's where I'm kind of getting, Well, look in the middle conference, Terry. Who's getting blown out in that conference that last year? Lincoln and North, maybe?
No, probably North.
West. How bad y'all beat Lincoln last year?
Pretty bad.
Here's one I would be upset about, though. Okay, so you take this murderous conference, and maybe North Lincoln finishes, 3 and 4 or 5, don't make the playoffs. But say the Mountain Island Charter wins their conference with nobody in it, they get in the playoffs over a team that.
What happens every year? 1A.
Well, that's like he just mentioned. He says who would finish last. Well, West Lincoln beat Lincoln by more points than they had 7 previous times they had beat them.
Right.
So,
and those teams year in year out is Chase Good? No. West Lincoln? No. East Forest View, East Rutherford, Lincoln, they kind of rotate. They have good years. They have a couple of good seasons, but nobody in that conference, I think,
they're good until that class graduates.
Terry, are you walking into the room when you're saying anybody in that is going to be a 70-0 ball game?
No.
So down in the 1A, you got Thomas Jefferson against Highland Tech. They'd probably kill him.
I guess the only ones you'd ever walk in there and say maybe would be if you had to play North Gaston.
And they're the biggest school in that
I know.
group.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're again, instead of they have the smallest as football players, but they got the most students. So I don't understand or don't get why you count, because this is a numbers game. With football, it's a numbers game. You're counting girls in the ADM numbers, but instead of counting the football players. And to me, it seems like if the football coaches wouldn't want this, wouldn't they just again be solidifying they're the most hypocritical people on earth when they always say, we want competition. We want to play the best. Well, instead of playing our Central, sir, you got to play Shelby this year. That's not what I said.
Well,
that's what would come out.
I can remember when I first came to Burns, though, and I can remember Ron Green out there talking to his team and talking to see. He was so proud they had 100 people, 100 kids.
That's great.
100 kids in the program, and now what Burns have total?
Well, 69? I don't know if that's the total.
Numbers aren't as strong as they were 20 years ago.
Do you have an idea about? I don't know. I'll just put 20 on the JV. It could be. Some teams will have 30. I don't know. Do you have any idea what Burns JV had last year?
No, it was more than 20.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was. I just put that number down as a base.
Yeah, it was. They probably had about 30 or 35 kids on the JV.
So if that's the case, you got about 75 in your program, maybe 80, somewhere around in there.
Maybe.
But again, the purpose of doing this and going through and counting was to show that the higher numbers tend to be the better teams. Terry, look over the far right one. Read off the top 5 teams in the far right.
AC Reynolds was 69, Catholic was 60, Hickory 56, Reedsville 54, and High Brighton 52.
They had some pretty good teams over the years.
They have.
So when you look at this list, every team over 50, I'm going to read, okay? South Point, Crest, Shelby, Kings Mountain, Reynolds, Catholic, Hickory, Reedsville, and High Brighton. Are those bad football programs? Hickory's had some tough times.
Not over the last 7-10 years.
But the rest of those are pretty top-notch in the West, right, Terry?
Yes.
So what do they all have in common? They have 50 football players on their varsity roster. Like that's just the simple number. And then you scoot down to the next. Burns and we'll go to the 40s. Burns has had hit and miss years. North Lincoln's had hit and miss years. Huss has had hit and miss. West and East. East has won championships. You get Chas Surratt on a team with 40 people. That makes the difference. Reedsville at 54. Terry, how many championships they won? They're sitting there with 50. High Brighton competing. AC Reynolds, Catholic with 60. Like all those teams that are making state championships seem to have 50 football players on their roster,
or at least in the high 40s.
Yeah. Well, just like so, Reedsville, if they play, for example, Lincoln, Reedsville has 14 more people on their football team. That's a whole side of the football. Yeah. That's just a whole. Yeah. That's just a whole
good
side.
Athletes.
Right. That's a whole side of a football. I don't think Hunter, and we talked about this, Rob. You know, maybe counting the girls and other students is good for football. I don't want to. You probably this is different for other sports, obviously. And for example, Tom, who's the very lowest school on the list of the whole thing? Bottom right corner. How many championships did they won?
Christ the King.
No.
The big one.
Bottom right, Forrest, the bottom one, the lowest number of students in the state.
The 1, 2, and 3 classes.
Salem Prep?
Yes, Terry. Now, you talk about percentage of athletes in a school, Tom. Terry, they got 24 basketball players at Winston-Salem Prep and only 150 of them students.
Yeah.
What percentage is that? They win state championships every year in basketball. 152 students. That's amazing how they get all the basketball players.
That's about 18%, 20%.
20% of Winston-Salem Prep students are basketball players.
And they win in state championships. They win in rings.
For example, Ashbrook, Tom, with 1,400 students and only 24 basketball players, percentage of that is
it's low.
Not nearly as great.
Not nearly as great. It's the best way to say it. So, Terry, thoughts? I'll let you kind of.
Well, it all depends. Like I said a minute ago, some people are going to look at you putting elite with elite, and then you filling in everybody else. Some people are going to say, hey, man, that'd be great conferences. Some people's going to agree with you 100%.
But again, this is no opinion like our poll. I just put numbers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish it.
Yeah, no, I understand. But, it's just everybody's going to have their opinions. Some people's not going to like that.
Now, Terry,
they're going to be like, I don't want to play South Point, Crest, and Shelby and all them in a row. They're not going to like that at all. If you were in there and you were a North Lincoln or Stuart Kramer, let's just say Stuart Kramer, and, hey, buddy, this week you're playing Burns, next week you're going to play Kings Mountain, then you're going to play Shelby, then you're going to play Crest. Well, that's not good.
Well, Terry, what if we
all
did
of a sudden
this?
Our football program becomes where we're not going out because we cannot win.
What happened about this? This was the only kind of gripe I had with it.
Ashbrook was 2-8 last year, Terry. What's the difference between Stuart Kramer going 2-8?
This is my only gripe with it. We talked about this, and I think when we were getting closer to the end of the discussion with Rob about it, we kind of came up to maybe like this has to be set in stone, this conference, for at least 2 or 3 years. Because at first it was like, this thing could be really fluid. It could just be, so maybe you had 60 players last year on your team, but then the next year maybe you only have 40 come out.
And that's what would happen with some of these teams.
I know. And then you then look at the fluidity that could happen. The conferences could be completely different if you didn't just have it set in stone for, okay, well, this is your conference for at least 2 to 3 years. Because if you do it for at least 2 to 3 years, at least that sophomore class is going to be able to play in that same conference until they're seniors.
Well, how many years do they do realignment? Is it 4?
4.
Is it 4?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's nothing wrong with that.
Because it's either that or like every year's fluid, and every year it's a new conference.
But the difference is I think they should use last year's numbers as opposed to this year's football number. And then there is no argument. There is no, hey, we did this and this. Is that you have to register your football players from this year, and then the next year, hey, you had 100 people in your program last year. That's what you're playing by this year. And then in 4 years we'll talk real line. But again. Maybe those wouldn't be the exact conferences, Terry, because, there's plenty of other 3A teams in the West or whatever, or however you want to do it. But that's just a way where I separated our local teams if you just wanted to do the local conferences, because they, you could also have, because Bandy's isn't included on that, I don't think, and Maiden. So they, of course, would be involved in those conferences as well. Where are they on the
Maiden's got a
list?
small football team,
Maiden's
too.
got 32 on their team.
And they win.
I don't know why I didn't.
And I hate it.
I know what happened. I was cutting and pasting. They're over here in the actual conferences. There's your numbers for them. So take 20 off of each of those if you want to look at those. I went ahead and added them to it. So, for example, Hunter, Bandy's 42. So they're sitting right there at Thomas Jefferson, the same number of players. Terry, would that have been a good game last year, Bandy's and Thomas Jefferson?
Yes, it would have.
Newton Conover, that same thing at 41. Maiden at 32. Maiden would be down there with East Gaston, North Gaston, RS Central, and those guys, and back in there with Cherryville and Bessemer City. And then I don't think anyone else was on the list that wasn't. But, yeah, there's your Bandies and Maiden Newton Conover ones. They're on the lower end of some of that.
Asterisk meant no JV, right?
For the most part, that's what I was guessing, kind of going with. Asterisk meant I didn't add them into it. I don't know if they have a JV. I just didn't add them into it just to be on the safe side. I didn't know if Thomas Jefferson, Mountain Island, and Highland Tech. I don't think Highland Tech had one at all. But Thomas Jefferson, Mountain Island, I didn't want to put them on there. I couldn't remember it all if they did have the JVs. They only had listed like 3 games on Thomas Jefferson's JV, so maybe they played a couple. And
wasn't
a
there
lot
a
of these
team last year that
most of
forfeited
these
like 3 games anyways?
Right, most of
What's
these
that?
teams
Wasn't there a team last year that like forfeited 3 or 4 games anyways because they didn't have the players for it?
may have been. They
Yeah.
but they may have only played like 3 JV games because that conference and those other teams didn't have them. So that's just something I don't know. I just wanted to do a more fair, hopefully way, get away from the 70 and 56 to nothing Drummonds if we can.
It's the same
if
thing
Shelby
at the
wins
college
another,
level. You'll see, what would you much rather watch? Alabama, Auburn, or are you going to watch Alabama, Western Carolina?
Oh, I like the Alabama-Western Carolina game, man.
I liked it when the Western was up for a minute. Then old St. Nick was like, wait a minute
David
now.
and Goliath. David and Goliath.
All right, JP, you ready? Is
Yep.
he even in
Yeah,
there?
he's got
I
a-
can't,
he's got
I
a
can't
thumbs
see
up.
where I'm at in my little corner over here anymore. All right, JP, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. It's NBA, and some NFL, and some NASCAR, a little bit more of everything on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could go look at a new car or truck and you didn't have to worry about getting caught up in those games that waste half your day? Well, Friendship Nissan and Friendship Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Forest City is different because we're fast, easy, and transparent. We have over 300 new and used vehicles on the ground with clear choice pricing and the region's only non-commissioned sales force, and a free lifetime warranty on every new car. You better believe Friendship Nissan and Friendship Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram is different, and you can find us in Forest City.
Take advantage of a special offer on the versatile Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor. Switching attachments is simple, and a smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation. The Kubota BX Series, the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. You own the land. Now, make it yours. Get the Kubota BX 2380 for payments as low as $99 a month.
Your Kubota dealer is Parker Farm Service, 126 Bessie Drive, off Highway 74 at Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain.
At Coyote, we're going to treat you like dirt because we hold dirt in the highest regard. We're honored to find it under our fingernails, lucky to be caked in it at day's end. It keeps us humble, honest. Dirt gets taken for granted by most, but if you know us, you know getting treated like dirt means getting treated with respect. Coyote, we dig dirt.
Your Coyote dealer is Weston Sales, Highway 18 North, Highway 27 intersection west in Vale.
To get up in the shadows of beautiful Crowder's Mountain at Crowder's Mountain Golf Course, play and ride 18 Monday through Friday for $28 and $25 after 2 p.m. On weekends and holidays, play and ride for $38 and $33 after 2 p.m. Monday is Ladies' Day. Ladies play and ride for $18, and seniors play and ride Monday through Friday for $25. For your tee time, call 704-734-0383 for Crowder's Mountain Golf Course.
As things open back up, it's important for everyone to get back out and promote your local communities and stores. Here at Shope Shoes in Shelby, we are committed to our community and our customers. We have shoes for just about everybody. Everything from work boots to athletic shoes and even sandals. We have several great deals going on right now, so come on in and we'll be happy to help you find what you need. We'll provide friendly, attentive customer service, and you'll get good prices on quality shoes. Shope Shoes, 1843 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Call 704-482-8653.
If bowling's your game, head to George Pappas Liberty Lanes in Gastonia. At Liberty Lanes in Gastonia, you'll find 32 lanes, 16 with bumpers for small children. Liberty Lanes is a smoke-free facility with a full snack bar and game room with pool tables, plus a pro shop too, providing bowlers of all skill levels with a fun-filled environment for both league and open bowling. That's George Pappas Liberty Lanes, Highway 321 South, Gastonia.
And we're back on Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the guys. Hopefully they'll get their ears on eventually and turn themselves on.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to
I can tell you. I can look it up.
to Friendship, the friendly Saturday sports talk show where we all love
We
each
are
other.
always friendly on this show. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Always friendly.
I ain't had to cut nobody in a couple years, Hunter.
Huh?
Terry ain't had to cut nobody in about a decade now.
Terry.
Friendship Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Forest City is our new sponsor. Get on up there today on Oak
As
Street
well as
Extension.
Friendship Nissan.
Did I not say the and the Nissan?
And no, not the
and
Nissan.
Friendship Nissan.
We
Thomas
just got
Borgello.
friendship in both hands.
828-919-3001, 828-245-1661. All right, guys, it seemed like you guys wanted to maybe talk a little college football. I've been asking this for years. One of the things I hated about the sport more than anything is that the schedules were just ridiculously stupid. You talk big and bad about your conference. Everybody argues about, well, my conference is better than this, well, my conference is better than that, and then only 2/3 of your schedule is against your conference. And then half of those games, if you're a good team, you don't even have to show up your starters to win the game. So Alabama, for example, plays, 2 regular season games a year they could actually maybe lose?
Auburn,
Maybe
just
3.
because it's the Iron Bowl, and then LSU. That's about it, really. That's really their hardest games.
And then they play teams like Mercer, Western Carolina, teams that wouldn't even dare stepping foot in Boone, much less Tuscaloosa, but they'll go there for $1 million. But either way, what they're doing now, and the good news is it ain't great news, but with the corona, making these teams play each other is the best thing that I've seen in a long time for college football, that they're actually having to play their own teams in their own conference. And then also with the baseball, we've wanted shorter seasons, longer playoffs. We're getting that. We might not even have anything. We talked about that earlier, but so that was close on that one. But football wise, Hunter, ACC, SEC, all these teams are announcing they're pretty much going to play in conference.
Yes.
I need to find this tweet real quick. I want to read from one of our local teams. Let's find it. Talking about the conference play. Click on my drafts. So Jones Angel, announcer for North Carolina, of course, talking about the ACC schedule. Put on here. Wow, they're playing this, and this. I'm trying to find the exact thing. I'll get the exact words from you as soon as Jones pulls up. Let's see.
I think I'm still confused, though, on why the SEC is only going to expand its schedule from 8 conference games to 10 when you play 12 games in a regular football season. Why didn't you just add 4 more conference games?
They still want to beat those cupcakes up.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's all conference
because-
only. So you're only playing 10 games this season. Then you're not playing 12.
Exactly.
Can they play
I'm
12?
confused.
Or they're not going to play extras? ACC's playing 11.
I don't know. The SEC said they're just playing 10, and
So
it's all
they're
conference.
They're not going to do any out of
I know,
was
out of
wondering if they were.
conference.
Well,
I want to see Alabama's schedule.
Yeah, a lot of reasons.
I want to see that too, because if
When
they
they come
don't,
out.
if they don't schedule either Georgia or Florida on the other side,
If you pick their schedule and you put Vanderbilt, all them teams that are at the bottom in their schedule, what are we doing? How is that coming around? How did you draw that?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Vanderbilt's better than Western Carolina. I'm going to go with that one. But then again, like Terry's right, is how do we come up with who plays who?
Yeah.
I think that's Terry's concern on that one. With the 14-team league, how do you make it
this
competitive
proposal
and
also,
equal?
this thing says proposal face both Florida. Alabama would face both Florida and Georgia.
I mean, I
during the
can
regular
sit here
season.
and I can go in this SEC and I can say, let's do this.
I'll
Let's
admit
put
SEC's
Alabama and
top
Georgia,
heavy, but damn, they're like that's
and
a
I'll
strong
put
top.
Auburn and LSU on the other side.
Yeah.
And they never play each other. So you know it's going to come down to those playing in the championship, one of them four, when it's all over said and done.
Yeah. Well, the SEC, and the reason these teams play these cupcakes as well is so they can become bowl eligible. Because they can get more teams to be bowl eligible. For example, let me tell you why. In the SEC last year, 6 teams were over 500, and of the 14 teams, only 6 of them over 500 in conference play. The rest of the league, under 500 in conference play. But how many of those teams made bowl games? Kentucky went 3-5 in the conference, undefeated out of the conference, 8-5. Missouri 3-5 in the conference, they went 6-6 overall. They're in a bowl game. Texas A&M, they went 4-4. They went 8-5 overall. They're in a bowl game. Mississippi State Bulldogs 3-5. They're in a bowl game. 4 teams at 500 or less in the conference made bowl games. That's why they play Western Carolina, Mercer, and whoever, St. Mary's School of the Blind. And so I'm glad this is coming. Here's the tweet. Wow, Carolina home games. NC State, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest. Carolina away games. Boston College, Duke, Florida State, Miami, and Virginia. Andy said one non-conference game to be announced. In Carolina's sake, I would bet 100% it won't be Appalachian State. That's all I had to say this morning.
Well, I
want
to know this though too. If they are allowing at least one non-conference game, I want to know how far outside of their own region they can go. Because then, if it comes down to it might have to be in state, or at least between Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Then I would be like, well, guess what? I think App might still be in play.
Not for North Carolina.
It's either going to be App. It's either going to be East Carolina. It'll be maybe. I mean, it might be North Carolina, Green A&T.
Wasn't North Carolina supposed to play California again this year?
Mac Brown will schedule UNC Charlotte.
They were supposed to play
quickly
Central Florida
before he'll
this year.
play. Mac Brown will schedule UNC Charlotte before he'll bring Boone back.
Oh, well, I'll be honest. I don't know why they wouldn't schedule UNC Charlotte. I don't know. I mean, if UNC Charlotte. Now, I do have this. This is an article I was just reading. It says, as of now, no uniform start date for college football. Like, there's no week 1. It's like a week 0 for August 29th. 5 games, and a few of those were supposed to be like Missouri State at Oklahoma. Okay, I don't care. Oklahoma's killing them. But it says the ACC will begin the weekend of September 12th. The SEC will start September 26th. And the Pac-12 is expected to announce its start date and schedule on Friday. So the Pac-12 is still up in arms, doesn't quite know what they're doing.
Say that again.
But they're going to do a 10-game
ACC
conference.
starts
September
12th. And the SEC starts what? 2
September
weeks later?
26th.
2 weeks later.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And I think that's maybe
when the
why
ACC
the SEC
is done, what? I mean,
But see,
they're playing
11-10.
Yeah, 11 and 10. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have one
week
extra
off.
week. It's gonna be a 1 week off. Okay.
See, that's what
I'm
I was
okay.
That's what I was about to say is that's going to be weird to me though when we come down to quote unquote selection time, because they're still planning on doing a college football playoff as if the season's going. They're going to have a playoff committee. So what's going to be the criteria now? Not everybody's looking like they're going to play the same amount of games. This is the only time you can probably really gauge somebody's strength of schedule just based off of the conference that they're in. I think that might hold a little bit more merit to them now, especially if what I just read, and it comes down to that Alabama is, in fact, going to have to play Florida and Georgia, and Florida is going to have to face Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. Okay, now Alabama, that cupcake schedule really ain't as bad as it usually is. I'm not going to sit here and say it's necessarily harder.
Nick Saban's going to lose his mind having played teams that can beat him.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, Alabama really,
God.
I respect Alabama, but as a Georgia fan, I'll tell you what, they don't want to come to Athens. No. They have been fortunate enough to play us in Atlanta at the place where they always win in the SEC championship game. Well, they lost us one time.
Here's what we haven't said yet, though. Okay. Alabama's got 5 players with coronavirus, so we're shutting down.
Yeah, I know.
No, you're right.
So what happens to the
You're
rest?
right.
What happens
I've
to the
read
fans?
through this article, and I have
3
not
wins,
seen
you're in a bowl game.
anything.
Yeah.
I've not
3
seen
wins, you're in a bowl game. Hey, the SEC had 3 teams last year that had 3 wins in conference and made bowls. That's what you're looking at. All you got to do is win 3. You're getting in a bowl game, whatever that means. It could be the toilet bowl if the Buffalo Bills get
I
get the
assume
naming right.
no fans at a college football game.
Probably
As
not.
of right now, no.
Oh God! Literally one of the main
Shouldn't it
parts
be
of this
students only?
article.
If they're going to allow anybody.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if they'll let it. If they're even going to consider. Some places might not. They just might go all virtual.
If they're going to allow anybody, it'd be students only. Don't you dare sell a ticket to these bourgeoisies when you got your students paying to go there and there's nobody in that stadium and they can easily social distance in that stadium. Well, except Ohio
Yeah, if
State,
they
you're
don't
gonna
have other
100,000
fans in there,
students,
why
too.
not? If they don't have other fans in there and you give stuff out to students, my God, they could sit 2-3 seats in between each other at some of these stadiums.
Why can you not? And
Well,
here's
Fauci sat the shoulder to shoulder with people, so I guess it's okay, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
NASCAR did it.
That's what I'm saying. NASCAR's
right
done
there
it.
you go.
It's gonna just
So why
it's gonna
can you
come down
not
to just these
bring
states.
in, like Michigan, 100,000 people? I can bring 50,000 people in there and still be okay.
Yeah,
Call
you
a
could still
protest,
have
you can do
people
it.
at 1 seat apart from each other. Some key games that are like they would have been fun to watch on television that aren't going to be played now because of this. It was Georgia and Virginia. I'll be honest, Virginia. Georgia, the dog walked you. I'm sorry. North Carolina and Auburn. That would have been in Atlanta. That would have been pretty fun. Texas at LSU. That would have been fun. Arkansas at Notre Dame. That wouldn't have been fun. Notre Dame would have dog walked them. Tennessee would have gotten dog walked at Oklahoma. Missouri at BYU. I don't. Neither one of them really are that great. Vanderbilt, Kansas State. And Mississippi at NC State. I know Mississippi State at NC State. I only would have liked to have watched that because I want to see how Mike Leach does at Mississippi State now that he's not at Washington State anymore. But literally, there's a title here that says, "What does Nick Saban think about all of this?" What does old Saint Nick think about this 10-game season that is nothing but SEC teams? We are pleased to have a plan in place for the Southeastern Conference this season. We believe it is the best option to keep players and staff safe and still maintain the integrity of the season. The safety of our team will be our highest priority throughout the season, but we are also excited that our players will have the opportunity to compete and play this season. Well, okay. I will say this. I'm surprised I didn't hear him complain about anything, but he probably realizes circumstances really he doesn't need to be complaining because at least he gets to go out here and bark at his kids some more, try and compete for excellence. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I don't understand. To me, though, I still can't wrap my brain around. It's like, well, if the ACC is going to play 11, why can't the SEC play 11 and just schedule one non-conference game? Because then if they do that,
Your
guess what?
rivalry game.
I was going to say, you could save your rivalry games. Clemson and South Carolina could be playing. Georgia Tech could be playing.
I'm telling you,
Florida State could play.
We're all talking about stuff that's not going to happen. Week 3, Corona, shut it down.
That's what baseball did after telling us they're not going to do it. You know, we're going to have 60 people. We're going to play. In college football, with 100 people on the roster,
Somebody's getting it.
You could, well, not that. I was going to say, you could set 50 aside and be like, there's the replacement team.
You want to know?
Hey, if it's about student athletes playing
Technically.
the game and going to school and loving the sport, let's not have a heart attack when the stars get sick then and just replace them with the kids that are practicing every day. But that ain't going to happen, will it? They got 100 people on the rosters, and they're going to sit there. Well,
I'll tell you what.
as soon as Trevor Lawrence gets it,
Yeah.
bye-bye college football.
You know what's really going to make this so tough, though? The thing that makes this so tough is it's college kids.
Right. They're not paid.
And it's going to, well, not just that, but it's going to be tough. A college kid don't just have a wife and kids to go home to when the game is done. It's going to be tough for old John to be like, hey.
We're not going to social distance. That was
I was about to say, it's going to be tough after a game, maybe a big win down in Tuscaloosa after they beat somebody. Hey, you want to come to this party after the game?
No talking
maybe
to
this
co-eds.
weekend? Yeah, can't. No talking to co-eds.
That's why I came to this school. Come on.
I'm telling you, I came
to Florida State or
it
Florida
seems
for the
far-fetched. Like,
academics.
oh, you mean to tell me the college athletes wouldn't be able to focus? No, let me tell you something. Okay, a college atmosphere down there for athletes, especially D1 football players, they got a lot of distractions.
Well, again,
if
this is if the virus is so bad and education is the most important thing, they shouldn't even play sports. They're already in college. We got them where they wanted them. We wanted to educate these kids. We wanted to give them.
Well, what
give them
was
degrees.
the
Now that they're there,
president of Notre Dame said he was not. He was thinking about when they got the kids back on campus, not even letting them go out for like whenever fall break and spring break comes, because he said if we let them go, they're gonna come back with it. He said we've already got them in here. I'm like, whoa, what are you trying to run a penitentiary? Like you got him there. What do you mean? Just trap them? You tell kids you can't go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Lock the chickens up.
Lock them up? Oh, he did say that. And when I saw that was the statement, I was like, damn, that really came out of your mouth? You really sounded like a warden just now? Okay.
Yeah, Tom, I don't know. The way baseball has panicked on this after, basically showing us that they're not wasn't going to panic or led us to believe that. I don't know.
Well, 2 weeks in.
I don't know, Terry. Think they're going to play?
Yes.
Think they're going to play?
I think they're going to play.
Can't
Oh,
believe.
they're going to play. Will they finish? That's the thing. I mean, they're going to play. I mean, I know they're going to start the season.
I mean, if you're one of these kids that are like 70th to 100 and you're not on scholarship, are you playing? You still going out there? Knowing you're not going to play, you might not even travel at all. Most kids that are past the 45 team limit aren't or don't even travel anyway. There's a lot of walk-ons people just don't get. They're just out there with their jerseys on Saturdays. They'll never play. They'll never do anything. Are those kids, not only do they want to, will they even be allowed? Like, are they going to cut the rosters to 60 or 70 and then do something like that? There's a lot of questions with that that I have, and I don't think they're going to put the students in at first priority. Nick Saban's going to get his check. Okay?
Oh, he's going to get that check.
He's going to get his check, and Dabo's going to get their checks.
He's going to get that check.
And then they'll worry about the rest later.
They ain't going to worry about these kids.
That doesn't seem that way.
That coach is going to get that check. Don't worry about that.
So, big news for our area, too, this week. Caleb Farley announced
Yes.
Adam Schefter. He's the first player. He's projected, guys. Did you see that? First round.
I'm not surprised.
And before I even say another word, I want to congratulate that. Just being projected first round. That is amazing.
I remember watching him at Maiden. God almighty.
Terry, he's one of the best. And maybe I say he's the fastest player I've seen around here. Now, I've seen, for the people, well, what about Norris Harper? He's the shiftiest. I'll say that. He's a shadow that you can't put your arms around at all. But straight line speed, Caleb was taking quarterback direct snaps and running around the end with Chaz and Sage Surratt's on the defense, and they couldn't do nothing about it. Couldn't stop him from getting to the end. And it was, Terry, you sit there and watched it with me and Jason doing the game. I know Tom used it burns, but if you can go back and watch that game on our YouTube, my goodness.
I was working at another radio station at the time, covered Friday Night Football with them, and I went and did one of the games, and they were playing West Caldwell at the time. And I cannot remember the gentleman's name that was playing for West Caldwell, but he was just as athletic. Tyus. Yes, that's exactly right. You know exactly what I was talking about. He was their quarterback, and it was a quarterback duel. Both of them were dual threat, and just Caleb Farley took it to another level. I'm telling you, what I saw Chaz do in high school was fantastic, just from a throwing perspective. All around best quarterback I've probably seen, because he was doing that while I was still in high school and I was getting ready to graduate. I think he's only like a year or two younger than me. But when I tell you just pure speed, I've never seen anybody as fast as Caleb Farley.
And if you're going to be a first round cornerback, you're good. You know, that's NFL. And I've always said, and people I've played football with, we think the best athletes in sports are cornerbacks. You got to run a 4.4 backwards while not knowing what the other guy's doing.
Yeah.
And the other day was something that, you know, they're poo-pooing and kind of makes me mad. And as far as playing the position, why it makes me mad is the way they poo-poo safeties. Like, they say they're not important. They're like running backs to the defense. And they'll give a defensive end who gets 10 sacks. Which
Seattle just traded 2 firsts for a safety. I don't know what you're talking about.
If I know, well, that's what I'm getting. Everybody's
ripping
the
Jamal
coals
Adams
for it.
Yeah.
So the thing about the safety, if a defensive end messes up half his plays, are you going to know? If a safety messes up half his plays, Terry, what's the score?
Oh, you're going to know.
It's going to be 70-0.
Yeah.
So how can that guy be less important than the defensive end over here who all he does is rush the quarterback or set the edge? I know you need them. I know they're big stars, but you paying those guys $20 million, and the safety back here, they're saying is worth nothing. I'm just like, okay, let's think of some of the best defenses in history. Ronnie Lott. Has he got rings, Terry? what, 4? All right. Let's see. Darren Woodson, how many's he got? 3. Ed Reed, has he got titles? Yeah. How about Troy Polamalu? He's got championships. I just named maybe the 4 best safeties in football history. The dude from Seattle, Earl Thomas.
And Cam Chancellor. Both of them part of the Legion of Doom got Super Bowl
You
rings.
think of the best defenses ever. There's one special person on that. Everybody talks about Deion. They won 2 Super Bowls without Deion, with Darren Woodson back there, and Kevin Smith and Larry Brown were the corners. So the safety, to me, he's the quarterback of the defense. He's the last person. He's the last person back. Come on, the defensive end, they run a sweep left. Okay, what did he do?
Listen,
Nothing.
that corner,
Safety still
that,
got to make
corner,
the
that
tackle or help
cornerback's
with the
not going to
tackle.
complain if he gets beaten at safety.
drives me
I
crazy.
cannot
They-
believe
they
Terry
hate
did
on
not
safeties.
mention Bill Bates.
No, he's
He's a
athletic.
special teams.
Yeah.
He's more special.
But
teams.
I'll say this, Caleb.
Tom,
I don't know if
there
he
you go,
under-
right there. That's a perfect example of John Madden making someone better than they thought they were. Just the fact that you even brought up Bill Bates.
Because he had
Hey.
to cut across his nose.
But hey, now I will,
he ain't defended a pass yet.
but I will take this time to say, you know, what Caleb Farley did. I took a lot of guts to opt out of the season.
And they might not even play. So what if they
I
don't
might
play?
not even play, but I mean, he took the president, obviously hometown kid, but you know, he lost his mother to
Right.
something like this. So to him, it's personal, which is understandable for a lot of kids. So you know what? I tweeted it when it happened. Obviously, I was happy for him for making the decision, a hometown kid, but it's the first of many.
Yeah.
With him, basically now. He opened the floodgates. We're going to see more and more of this. If you
you're
are,
top
if
2
you're,
rounds, I
I'll
don't
just
know
say,
why
if
you'd
you're a
play.
projected
I don't know why you'd
first
play
round or
college football.
second round, like at least the top 2 rounds,
Wouldn't
you're
surprise
talking
me.
millions of dollars on the line.
It wouldn't surprise me if Fields and Trevor Lawrence and all.
There's no reason for Trevor Lawrence to step on another college football field. Why? He's the fact he's won a national championship. If you want to do that,
All you got to do is sit back and look at what Burrow just signed for.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Why risk it?
And he gets
$23.8
and he
million
gets
guaranteed.
all of the signing
Something.
bonus like this week. He had it set up where he got all of it.
Why risk it?
Not only
true.
injury, then you got corona and other things. And think about if you come back and you play and you prepare to play, and then they don't play, or then like you said, Tom, you do three games, and then what if you play? What if you get hurt in the second game and then they end the season after 4 games, and then you're like, what did I just do? And now, because from no matter what he looks at it, starting in January, he's getting ready for the NFL. Caleb's getting ready for the NFL. These guys, no matter what, in January, and that's getting closer and closer. I'm not saying the players don't. A lot of players need the season to get the exposure, to get the experience, to get better.
To try and
Ton of them
try
need
and
it.
move and try and improve your draft
Trevor Lawrence
stock.
don't.
No,
The
the top 3 quarterbacks probably don't at all. Unless
I want good luck and Godspeed to Caleb and hope the
I'll
best
tell you
for him.
what,
Hope he's
though,
playing football next year. Hope
if
he's
he is
playing
a
for the
first
Browns
round, if
next
he's
year,
a first
Tom.
round projection, I was literally about to sit here and say, what would be the best fit for him?
Cleveland.
It's all about
Kick returner.
fit. It's
That's
all about
about
fit
where y'all
and
be picking.
teams.
We want him to be the kick returner. Everybody picks in the first
don't
round.
know that,
Terry.
Terry.
Everybody picks in the
That's
first
about
round.
where
Terry.
y'all be picking at
Except
the
when Dallas
bottom.
trades them away.
No. I think it's a moot point because I think the NFL is going to be caught in this trap as well.
I think
The draft will go on though.
yes,
They-
they'll
they'll-
make
they'll
another.
add-
They'll make another spectacle
add
out of this
football
draft.
players.
Don't worry. They might even move
The boys
draft
last year
up.
they got drafted haven't even played yet.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to draft some more
I'll
guys.
say this.
Hey,
This was
Chase Young will be the only number 1 pick in NFL history that doesn't play for the team that drafted him. He will never be a Washington Redskin.
Kevin. You can't say that word anymore.
You could say it. I mean,
Washington football
The Washington
team.
football.
you could say it.
The
What is
Washington
that? But was that?
You know, at Cleveland
That's
now,
so dumb.
there was a big article I read that by definition, tribe cannot be considered like offensive to anybody because a tribe is just like a group of common
tribe of
language.
people.
Yeah. So now they're thinking about changing it from the Cleveland Tribe, which is the nickname of the nickname. A lot of times they're called the Tribe. So
It's called, it's the
on
instead
that
of the
basis,
Indians,
Tom,
the Cleveland Tribe.
We have a department in the federal government. What's it called?
the Department of Indian Affairs.
What's the Catawba? What are they called? The nation right here, right below the South Carolina line.
Are they the Catawba Indian
Yes.
Nation?
Their names are the Catawba Indian Nation. So I don't see how that would be. You're on that train right now, and I don't think I agree with you on that. Some of those are just are just wild.
I just don't understand why you changed it to the Washington football team and you couldn't just come to an agreement that this was going to just be its going away season. This was just going to be the last season that the fans can go out here and scream, "Go Redskins," and
Enough
that's it.
Is enough, Hunter.
Because think about
Enough
it.
is enough,
Think about it.
Hunter.
Kobe Bryant had, God rest his soul, but he had his retirement tour. Chipper Jones had his retirement tour. Derek Jeter had his retirement tour. Washington, this is the last year. Just let them have their last season.
No, Hunter. No.
Just let them have their last season, by God.
You ready for the North Carolina Blue Rams?
Shut up. Kevin, do not speak this into existence.
The Carolina Blue
That's
Rams.
coming next. That's coming next. Because the Tar Heels is
Well, then guess what? Guess what? Then I'm getting rid of the Blue Devils because it's offensive to my religion.
I know, right?
Yep.
Hunter,
How's a
all I have
Methodist
to
school
do-
called the Devils? Someone explain that to me.
All I have to do for Hunter is remind him in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, your Washington football team never beat Dallas more in any decade in any of them.
Terry, last time I checked, we both had 3 Super
That's
Bowls.
all
So
Yeah, y'all had 3, but we got 5. So you can stay back there with your 3.
I'm just saying. At least we're not just sitting here with no Super Bowls.
I mean, it's kind of like I said, I've already given the analogy of the 30-year thing, which I won't repeat, but it's been 30 years, Terry.
Well, it's hard for me to get people. And
Well, Terry, do you
some
want
of
me?
my
Do you want me to
favorite
come
people-
after your Cowboys now? What? They
You
killed
can't-
Indians.
I know.
That's right.
I know.
We're Cowboys. Our
I'm telling
name's
you.
still there.
They're going to be the Dallas Stars.
They're gonna be something.
They're going to be the
That'll
Stars.
change.
We thought about that.
We can
one
change
time.
y'all to the
Stars.
Cowgirls real fast.
But they can't
I
be
know
the
a lot
Dallas
of people
Stars.
that are
That's
behind
already
that.
been trademarked by the hockey team.
Oh, has it?
They're the Dallas Stars.
Sorry. Looks like it'll just be the Dallas football team. How about the Dallas J.R. Ewings?
Haven't I been saying that? Well, no, you're getting ready to just be the Dallas Jerry Joneses.
Yeah.
But I've been saying that
They've
for
been
weeks
they've been
now.
that for
Wouldn't it just be
25 years.
if you got a nickname and you think it's offensive, you might as well just get rid of the nickname. Just use
You know
no
what I'm saying?
nicknames.
If everybody's going to cry, just get rid of it all.
Just use
Just
what
get rid of
JP,
use
you're
your
in there?
state or your university affiliation. That's it. We're getting ready to go down here and play Chapel Hill today.
That's right.
Whatever. We're
Forget
going
it.
to play Duke.
Forget
Ugh.
it. Just forget it. Everybody's going to cry about everything.
We're playing the Carolina football team, not the football club though.
I mean, why do they have a monopoly on the name North Carolina? So kind of North Carolina schools.
Yeah, it's offensive.
It's the University of North Carolina.
That's
why does
offensive.
Why does Chapel Hill get the North
Tar
Carolina
Heels.
knock?
And who? And what is this one
name.
state thing? I'm not from South Carolina.
I
I'm
mean, like,
offended.
why is it North Carolina? Instead, let's see, who's a UNC? UNC Charlotte, for example. Why aren't they the North Carolina 49ers?
Actually, what the the university's been fighting
UNC
really hard to
Greensboro, what are
drop
they,
the
Spartans?
UNC from it and just be
What are they,
University of
North Carolina
Charlotte.
49ers were greedy,
I just don't see how Chapel Hill gets the monopoly on the word North
Yeah, I
Carolina
know.
as opposed to the other schools.
but 49ers were greedy.
But
so
I know
guess
a
they're
lot
gonna come
of
after UNC
a lot
too.
of the UNC. I know a lot of my
I'm going to
friends.
come after them too, Terry. Coming for your mascot.
All right, JP, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a minute. KTCBroadcasting.com.
Nowadays, buying a new car or truck is different because everything is on the internet. So why would anyone waste their time trying to get answers from a salesperson who's just going to beat you up for more money? At Friendship Nissan and Friendship Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Forest City, our sales guys and sales girls don't work on commission. We have clear choice pricing, a free lifetime warranty, and you can find anything you might want to know on our 300 new and used cars and trucks online at Friendship Nissan or Friendship Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Remember, we're different and we're right down the road in Forest City.
Hey, Milton, where can I get a good washer and dryer?
Well, Ron, try Hendrick Appliance in Shelby.
Well, what about a refrigerator and freezer?
That's Hendrick Appliance in Shelby, too.
Well, I need a range or a stovetop, too.
See Hendrick Appliance in Shelby.
Well, what about the price?
Best deals in town, and they have scratch and dent appliances at discount prices.
Man, all this makes me tired.
They've got mattresses, too. Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center, 1241 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at hendrickappliance.com.
STI in Kings Mountain is hiring, and they're sponsoring a drive-in hiring event on Thursday, August 6th from 4 until 8 p.m. Hey, here's how it works. Just complete your application at stifabrics.com and then call 704-730-2802 by 5 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th to register. And on the day of the event, call 704-730-2802 to check in when you arrive. You must be 18 years of age, have your valid photo ID, and a social security card or birth certificate. No experience necessary. However, drug testing and direct deposit are required for employment. Don't miss the STI Drive-In Hiring Event on Thursday, August 6th from 4 until 8 p.m. Do you have a little wiggle in the front end of that car or truck? Or are your stops taking a little longer? Then you need to see Petite's Front End and Brake Shop in Shelby. For over 42 years, Petite's Front End and Brake Shop has been serving this area. From alignments to brakes, from shocks to tires, from AC work to heater repair, they do it all, even minor automotive repair. And they are a North Carolina inspection station. Just call 704-482-8471 or come by. They're located at 308 North Washington Street in Shelby. See Tim and the guys today at Petite's Front End and Brake Shop in Shelby. Open 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Plumbing problems? Well, if you're not an expert plumber, then we invite you to call the Expert Plumbers. That's Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City. Just call 828-245-7302. Recommended since 1973. From faucets to sinks to toilets, from sewer and drains to well pumps, from dishwashers to disposals to bathroom remodeling, residential and commercial, new homes too. Don't let your plumbing problems drive you plumb crazy. Call Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City, 828-245-7302, or visit the website at olmstedplumbing.com. Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture so you can work toward meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact Adam Larson, your Shelby Edward Jones financial advisor at 1427 East Marion Street, Suite F. Call 704-692-0249 or contact Kevin Larson, your Cherryville Edward Jones financial advisor at 217 East Main Street. Give them a call at 704-692-2325. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
And welcome back to Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the gang.
Kevin and the gang. Y'all hear that? He can't even say y'all's
Kevin
name.
and the gang.
Wow. No, I'm just kidding.
We're just a
I'm
gang.
just kidding.
I could say JP
What kind
and
of gang
the,
is this? This is the
sports
worst
talks.
gang ever.
Whoa. You mean to tell me?
We don't even have
if-
motorcycles,
You mean to tell me
mopeds,
if you were like about to get in a
horses?
bar fight, you wouldn't just call the
No.
gang?
I mean, a gang, not y'all.
Oh.
I'm not calling JP to cut nobody.
Yeah.
Are you part of the gang, or are you just announcing the gang?
I'm kind of just announcing
Okay.
the game. At bar fight, I'd be in the back of the corner of the room,
No, you wouldn't.
kind
You
of
wouldn't even be
commentating,
in
be
there.
like, "Oh, there goes Kevin down for the. There goes Kevin down for the count.
No,
Oh, here
you
comes
wouldn't. You
Terry
wouldn't be
with his
saying-
biscuits."
You wouldn't be saying Kevin down with the gang. It's kind of hard to see what's happening inside when you're standing outside.
Oh,
I said I'd be inside in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
So, but then I'd probably be the one to run out first anyway. So,
Okay,
There
that's
you
what
go.
I was saying. Anyway,
JP's like George in the
NBA.
Seinfeld episode when the fire catches.
Who's breaking?
do
house
wanna
catches fire and he
speak-
pushes the kids
Who's
out of
breaking
the
a
way.
glass bottle out of
Yeah.
all this?
it's a show about nothing.
Terry.
Terry's
He ain't
breaking
afraid
a
to
glass
get cut.
bottle.
Terry's not afraid to get cut.
I got cuts all over me. Yeah.
Battle
NBA.
scar.
Blood's no problem.
NBA, National Basketball Association is back. All kinds of
NBA.
Had
weird.
games last
Come on.
night and opening night was Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's my deal. If we're going to play in this bubble down there, if a guy takes 3 or 4 steps, is that not a walk?
I think that's
no.
Is it not? Well, it's not in the NBA.
It's not. No,
It is everywhere else.
They
but
actually changed the rules a few years ago for LeBron. Here we go. They
you
added
get like a gather
They
step.
added an extra gather step
The
to your
Euro
2.
step.
They added a gather step, Terry, to your 2 steps.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you can take
last
the
night-
2 and a gather, and then if you do a crab dribble, you can just pick the ball up at
Let me
half
tell you
court and
something.
duck your shoulder into it.
Okay. Here's my
Referee at the
deal.
YMCA didn't help me with that. So
No.
he said, "I don't know what this gather step is,
Yeah,
boy."
but you traveled.
You traveled.
I got told I couldn't call a travel. That's why.
What, as a ref?
No, we were
Or-
playing.
Oh.
And a dude picked the ball up at the 3-point line, Hunter. I don't know how many steps he took, but he finger rolled. And he's only like 5'10".
He said, "Can't call a travel."
And I called a travel, and a guy that was playing on the court with us was a YMCA worker, and he says, you can't call travels out here. And I said, he cupped the ball from the 3-point line and finger rolled.
That's about like an NBA move now.
So, Terry, if you don't think the next time down I gave the most illegal crossover spin 7-step drive to the lane you've ever seen in your life and dared them to call travel on me, you don't know me then.
Yeah, well, Giannis, he had a couple last night, but they said, he got beat off the first step. Yeah, okay, he did.
Yeah.
But he also took 2 or 3 more steps to lay it in. I mean, and he's a big guy. But here's my problem with the NBA. I understand it coming back. I appreciate it. I've been waiting on it. But, and don't get me wrong, I'm not crying because Boston lost last night because, Tatum was like 2 out of 18 from the floor. If he cannot shoot no better, put him on the bench until he gets better. But anyway, so
as Coach Reinhardt,
yeah, if you're playing the game,
bench Jason Tatum.
2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game. Giannis has 5 fouls. The whistle blows. They're coming to see if he made a hazardous act.
Huh?
The referee blew the whistle. Something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking over there. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. The foul is on who? Giannis. Guess what? That's 6, buddy. You are out. You sit down.
Mm-hmm.
No call. No nothing. Boston takes the ball out of bounds.
But they blew the play dead.
The guy blew the whistle. Something happened.
Right.
And when you went back and look at it, Giannis had punched our center in his stomach to get him out of the way, to make room. No hazardous act. He didn't kill him. We're going to go ahead and play.
He didn't kill
Who had the ball?
Huh?
Who had the ball?
Boston had the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Smart was coming off of him.
So what, they're going to call it an off-ball foul?
Well, that's a foul.
Right.
The foul would have went on Giannis for number 6. What Giannis do not too much later, he probably scored 5 or 6 points. Now he's on TV saying he scored 35 points, had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he had a good opening
Play
night.
the game the way it's supposed to be. Just on account his name is Giannis, on account his name is LeBron, on account his name is Harden, don't mean that they get exceptional facts put against them that does not go for the game.
Well, Terry and Marcus Smart are on the same page.
The game was tied when this happened.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart said, quite frankly, I think we all know what that was all about. It was Giannis' 6th foul. They didn't want to get him out.
There
Let's
you
just call
go.
a spade a spade. Well, Terry, if you don't want to get beat by 6, you should be leading by 10. Right?
Well, hey,
I'm just saying, don't give up 113.
Tatum
if you
was
don't
2
wanna
out of
lose.
18.
119.
Okay, he had a bad game. I mean, that's going to happen for every NBA
Which
player
one do you
ever.
prefer? You prefer Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? I think
I
Jaylen
like
Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
I think Jaylen Brown
His
could be a
overall
yes.
game.
Yes.
I like his overall
I'm
game.
telling you, Jaylen Brown on any other team.
But
is a
Tatum
star.
knew he was not, and he was frustrated with himself. You could tell it.
I think it's a
Hunter,
first game.
Hunter, you want to break down your Wizards' loss to the Suns last night?
Hell no. You think I actually watched that crap?
Yeah. But then
Your
I'm
team's
also
battling for the playoffs.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
told
also,
you we ain't doing it.
Well, Hunter, I'm also on the other end of saying in these games, you
and Tom
don't
have
put
nobody to
Kemba
watch.
on the bench when the game means nothing. You're not going to play him, so why are you even playing these games? It means nothing. You're in the playoffs. Now, for your team, like the Wizard, that's all this is about. For your 8 and 9 place teams,
You're right.
Right. They shouldn't have even played the top
so
yeah,
four
they
we-
shouldn't have.
you're
Most of them
right.
shouldn't even play.
I agree. You're right. We should be playing hard, but the problem I have is Bradley Beal sat out. Bradley Beal opted
Yeah.
out. He was not going to play. I would have been more optimistic if we had the 30-point bucket scorer on the floor every night. But we don't. We haven't had John Wall for a full season in almost 3 years. I'm waiting for him to come back so I can finally see what those two start to look like because they were starting to mesh together. We were competing for 3 or 4 seeds. I'm not saying 1 or 2 in the East, but 3 or 4 seeds in the East. And then he had to go out and get hurt and decided that beer and alcohol was one of his favorite things he could see. He put on a little bit of weight. But for me and just the Washington team right now, the product they're putting out on the court is not going to win. So I'm not going to give them my eyes.
They're not really even close. I mean, they're a full 6 games back.
Yeah. I'm
And
pretty
who
sure.
are they
with eight to
battling
play.
with? Who
With
are
eight
they
to play.
battling
The
with?
Nets are 30 and 35.
There's a lot of these teams.
And the
a lot of
Nets
these
got
games are just
smacked.
waste.
Yeah, it
like
is.
90% of these games are waste.
Well, I
It
mean,
really is.
that's just like the game, and I'm
It's
not
to
saying
get it's to
anything.
get their revenue in.
If Tatum is 2 out of 18, replace him for Kemba. He can go 2 for 18. Replace him with somebody over there, but no, we're not going to do that. But I mean, to me, that's just showing Tatum, we really don't care what you do out here because we're protecting Kemba. We're going to get his knee better, and he's going to be ready when we make the playoffs.
Well, maybe they left Tatum out there.
Why not?
That he might eventually hit a shot. He only had 5 points last night.
That's tough for someone that was at one point averaging 30 for a stretch.
First game back. I mean, get back into it.
Well, Terry, right now the Celtics would play Philadelphia in the first. No, wait a minute. How many teams are in? 8?
8, yeah.
8.
Yeah, okay. So it would be the Celtics and the 76ers.
They have no chance.
If the Heat swaps with the Celtics, then they would more than see the Pacers. It's either going to be the Pacers or the 76ers against Boston. That's the way it looks like it's going to be. But you like your chances against either one of those matchups.
I'd rather play Philadelphia than Indiana.
Hell, I'd rather play Indiana. They ain't got nobody that's playing. Oladipo and Sabonis.
I was getting ready to say, is Oladipo playing? They said he wasn't playing.
No, he's taking the time to make sure his rehab is 100%. They ain't got their players.
Yeah, that's scary.
So last night, Portland beats Memphis. Memphis is the team. This is the Hunter we talked about this Wednesday. This is a big game. This game is big. Portland needed to win.
New Orleans' game was big. This game was big, and Sacramento was supposed to have a big game, but they got beat anyway. So right now, that's the team.
Portland's 2.5 back.
Yeah, they're 2.5 back. Yep.
Of Memphis.
That's the team.
Last night, Lillard 29, McCollum 33, Carmelo 21, and Nurkic 18. Whiteside off the bench had 7 points and 4 fouls. Walked in fouling everybody.
Didn't they score 140?
Yeah, 104 in overtime.
Yeah. Did you see how much the Rockets?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was overtime too. Listen to the foul situation for Portland, y'all. Melo 5, Zach Collins 6, Nurkic 6, Lillard 4, McCollum 3. The bench players: Herzonga 4, Whiteside 4, Gary Trent 4. Lillard had the least fouls that played, and he had 3. Herzonga, Whiteside, and Trent off the bench all had 4 fouls. Nasir Little didn't get to play.
Imagine.
But they had 8 people, and all of them had at least 3 fouls, and 2 of them fouled out, and they still won the ball game. They're going to be a tough out if they can get in. Lakers said they didn't want it, or Danny Green said they would be the toughest.
Listen, nobody wants a cooking Dame time. Nobody wants a cooking Damian Lillard. No. If Damian Lillard gets hot, it's tough to say this, but he could be, now that obviously Steph's not playing this year, he could be the best point guard in the league.
That's really the only thing of interest anyway. Is Portland going to get in or not? I mean, I really think, based on what you guys say about Zion, I don't even think, the Pelicans is a good story.
They're not even trying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the best story
and
right
I think
there.
that's so dumb. God, that's so dumb. How are you not going to play him for the last 2.5 minutes of each quarter? I could understand maybe the first
fix
two.
It up so you could be in this thing.
Exactly.
I don't get it. What teams that are 6 games out with 8 to go are allowed to play? Meaning you have to go 8-0, and Memphis has to go 2-6.
Yeah, I think
just to be tied.
Maybe once you're officially eliminated, don't play anymore. Go home.
What?
That would be smart.
Yeah.
But then again, what they're trying to do, Tom, is it's not fair to the other. They're trying to make the schedule fair. I think is so you play the same teams or same number or something like that is what they're trying to do.
I don't know, Kevin. I mean, it's just,
but it's not working.
I think they should have just went with the top 8 and top 8.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you what, though. John Morant had a good game for the Grizzlies.
He's mad about the setup. He thinks the Grizzlies are getting screwed in this situation, unfair to them, because really they're really the only team that they can really miss, get knocked out. So that's
true.
Why he was
that's
that
true.
point.
They are the only team that looks like they're just going to get knocked out. Everybody else is just fighting in for what position you're going to be in when it's over.
Well, on the worldwide leader today.
Well, another game, speaking of the NBA, wasn't Houston down by 7 with like 40-some seconds to go?
James
Harden
dropped 49.
I'm not sure the exact situation on that, Terry.
Yeah, I know it was under a minute, and they were down by 7, and they caught them and went in overtime and won.
Dude, but that was a high-scoring game. It was like 153 to like 149 over Dallas.
So Houston had 153 points. I don't even know. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure it's not
in regulation.
No,
overtime.
So
but they scored a lot in regulation.
Yeah. They got 6, 9, 12. Let's see, 32 minus 12. They only got 20 of the 153 points from someone listed as a power forward or bigger.
They're
only
small,
20
man.
of 150 points.
That's the game.
Somebody
That's
plays a little defense on them, they'll beat them. But they're hard to guard offensively on that end. I think Portland's the more.
How many free throws
teams
James Harden shoot? About 25, 30.
I tell you, just say it. 21.
Yeah.
Which is great. I don't mind them when they go to the rack and get fouled.
I don't like the touch fouls.
When he jumps into them, that is offensive. That is not, and they have made the argument now, like Terry's saying, they've changed the traveling rules. Now they've changed the offensive foul rules. If you used to jump into somebody, you are never getting that call on a jump shot. For God's sake,
now it's every time you're like,
he sticks his hip out, does funky stuff, and you're like, I thought the rule was, Terry, you've refereed long enough. I've played. I always thought the rule is whoever creates the contact is pretty much 90%. That's the guy who is the foul.
You would think.
Terry's nodding for you radio audience.
For really, that's exactly
He's just
right.
nodding.
I'm telling
We're on
you,
the radio,
yeah.
Terry.
Well, it's all right. People understand.
People watching on Facebook see Terry nodding. Well, today at 1 o'clock is the big news, guys. Bobo makes his debut.
I don't know if he plays.
He's been playing 20 minutes a game. I can teach 7-2.
In the exhibition games.
I can teach 7-9 wingspan. And I sure as hell can't teach a really soft touch all the way out to the NBA three-point line.
It'd be Miami and Denver.
That is Mike Malone, his coach, saying everything he's got, he can't teach none of it. And they play Miami at 1 o'clock today. Again, these teams are going to be. These teams are going to be in. So they're
Why are
still
you playing?
A lot of this is it's pretty much a preseason, isn't it? Is that what we're kind of talking about?
Well, to a degree. Colin made a good point when I was listening because he was making the point: why would you not play Zion? Because essentially, right now, you're playing in shape because it's playoff time once this is over. Yeah. So you're playing in shape, and the Pelicans can't afford not to try and make the playoffs. I mean, because like you would say, that it would just be a waste. So I don't understand. I don't understand that. So to me, Denver and Miami, like everybody else, I would expect them to at least play their starters a significant amount of minutes to get them ready to go for playoff time.
All right, we don't have much time, so this is going to be kind of quick, guys. Let's not even comment on it, but I wanted to make a couple points about some stuff going on here in the NBA on some of this stuff because we got the last 5 minutes. We got to get to NASCAR. JP's got some sound for us. Of course, you noticed that everyone is taking a knee. Hey, Terry, have you noticed that in the NBA?
I have noticed.
Did you notice the one young man that did not?
Yeah.
Have you seen the story on him?
Yeah, but now Popovich didn't take a knee neither.
And neither did Becky Hammond.
Yep.
So, Barkley came on to open the night the other night, and he said the one thing that we got to be clear about is if you don't take a knee, you're not a bad person.
Right.
You're whatever anyone's doing for whatever reason. If we're going to look at this person and say they're not a bad person, it's not a cause, you can't look at the other people as well. And then, now remember, that's Charles Barkley. Then you got Steve Kerr, who's never done anything without one of the greatest players ever contributing to his success, whether it's Michael Jordan, Tim Duncan, or Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. He's out here saying that if you don't kneel, you are starting racial problems. I can't remember the exact words. He said you are starting the racial fires. So Barkley says let's all be friends and don't vilify people. Steve Kerr says the complete opposite. Now, with that said, Jonathan Isaacs, the Orlando Magic basketball
I'm pretty sure
player,
he's a rookie. I think he was just drafted out of Florida State.
Isaacs is a Christian young man. He is a preacher. He's an ordained minister as well. And he's basically saying that, like a lot of Christians will say, I'm not bowing my knee to no one but Jesus Christ and God. And that's his position. And like Barkley said, we shouldn't be vilifying people. And then you got Steve Kerr saying the complete opposite. And this is not a young white man or anyone. This is a young black man who is a ordained minister. And Steve Kerr saying he's starting the racial fires. So you talk one thing and say it's not about the flag, it's not about the military, and then when the guy stands to his God and his Christ, then we do want to vilify him on Twitter and across the things. It's just a weird place to be right now. Terry, did you ever think in this country that we'd be saying that having to defend guys for standing for the national anthem?
I'm gonna put it as simple as I can put it. Popovich is not racist, period. He's been with every kind of athlete that you would ever want to be in all kind of denominations and whatever. Countries or anything. And when he stood last night, I think that's what he was really saying. It does not matter whether you kneel, whether you stand. I'm with you no matter what. That has nothing to do with what's going on in the world. And when he did that last night, that's for everybody. I mean, you know, he could have easily took a knee. He's done that before. So, but now last night he did not. He stood, you know, and I think he was saying, hey, we're all equal no matter what we're doing. We're all after the same thing. So just understand us, you know.
Well, I think people are in favor of free speech as long as your free speech is what I want you to say. That's kind of the way I feel that people get treated.
Okay,
I mean, that's all sides. That's not one side of it. That's
Right.
it. That's everybody.
Yeah.
And we need to get past that. That when a guy speaks out, but it's not the way you want to speak, that does not make him a villain. You know. And I agree with. We don't make people villains for kneeling. We don't make people villains for standing.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to make everybody else the other guy's the bad guy. The other guy's the villain. And that just gets old.
I mean, you ought to
It
read
just
these
gets old.
tweets from people just hating Jonathan Isaac right now. And one thing is, as the Christian faith and JP and everybody can attest to, is that they hated Jesus Christ and they killed him for it. And it clearly says in the Bible, they will hate you as they hated me. And whether you believe in it or not, that's where that's coming from. That's where Isaac's coming from on this. Like I said, an ordained minister, and to us vilify these folks. And Tom brought up a quick thing on the First Amendment. Me and Hunter had a blow up kind of talk this week about it. Is that, you know, it's the First Amendment for a reason. You know, if you're not allowed to speak, you're not free. If you're not allowed to say your mind, you're not free. And you know, Tom, historical court that document or cases have defended porn and all kinds of things as free speech. And for us to sit here and vilify somebody for standing up for Christ at a basketball game, and then the social media companies taking people's tweets down and blocking them, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or whatever,
through censorship.
The censorship, it's not free and it's not fair. And free speech should be as a radio station.
I will say this: Twitter and Facebook are private companies,
Right.
so they are fine to censor the speech.
Right.
You might not agree with it, but they're private.
But with
companies.
that though, they are taking government money. They are taking government taxes off. They are getting government public funding.
But you're
Now,
protected from the
right.
government.
That's not the government. Right. You're 100% right. That's not the government. But what we're saying is that once you start taking, well, Tom, they also took down some of the president's tweets, and that's getting to a level.
But they're a company,
right, Tom? It's the but if we're in a war, let's back this up. We're in World War II, and the president wants to tweet out information, World War III, and they're taking it down. Are we going to make the argument? Well, they're a private company. The president of the United States is trying to get a message out. Now, with that said, that's a little bit different situation. A lot of this stuff. But what I was trying to say about the First Amendment is, I believe it's the most important thing in the business I'm in, and in what we do. Like I said, because if you are not allowed to speak your mind, if you're not allowed to, it's the Second Amendment is the first one don't work. I like that saying. If you can't allow to, you know, that guarantees your first one. And the guys or the folks that want to shut speech down, the idea is to let people speak their mind so you know their position. If you're just sitting there being quiet, Tom, I might think you're bad things about you. Isn't that how the world works? I walk around in my little mask, and someone sees me and says, "Oh, there's a little white man. He's probably racist." Or something.
I think the key to free speech in the country is being able to handle hearing things that you don't agree with.
Right, exactly.
We can't really handle that as a society.
You can't be the whole world being offended and hurting your feelings. Right. You know, the free speech is to me is the most important thing. All right, JP, real quick, I'll play some sound real quick on NASCAR. Bubba Wallace news. He may, Terry, be in talks with Ganassi Racing for the 42 car next year, moving from the 43 to 42 maybe. Richard Petty Motorsports says they still want to keep him. I don't think they will, based on, I think he'll get some type of a sponsor with Ganassi that'll back him a little bit more than Petty that they get at Petty with their equipment. So, you know, that's a money thing. Is he going to turn down, you know, $1 million extra from Ganassi as opposed to what Petty could afford to pay him? It's not like Petty don't want him, they say. It's all about money and affordability. All right, JP, you ready for some? JP's got our NASCAR sound today. He's going to do the interviews with the drivers. Let's listen to this. Ready, JP?
Yeah, I'm ready. First, we have Denny Hamilton with... What?
Read, JP. Back it up. Read that again.
Denny Hamilton? What about it?
You said Hamilton.
Oh, sorry. Hamilton. With 5 wins in the season so far, do you feel you can show up at any racetrack and win?
You know, I know my equipment's good enough to do it. I still need to get better at some racetracks. But certainly, I think that I go to the racetrack every week thinking that we can win. As long as I don't make a mistake and we have what we call in our 11 team is a green race where no mistakes are made, we typically are always in the top 5 with a shot to win. And so it's on me to make sure we have green races.
Then we have Brett Kalowski. What are your thoughts about the finals? What, did I say it wrong again?
Just keep going, brother.
You're good, bud.
What are your thoughts about the final stretch of races before the playoffs start?
Total honesty, they don't mean much to the playoffs. So, I think you look at the stretch of races right here, and they're mostly just kind of fun races. There's somewhat lower pressure, chance to kind of work on yourself and the team, but there's not a lot that's going to carry over to the playoffs.
And finally, Eric Jones. The playoffs are getting closer. What are you and your team focusing on to make sure that you spot in the round of 16?
Yeah, it's a fine balance. We obviously need to get some points, and had 2 guys behind us in points jump us and get wins and get in the playoffs. So that makes things a little bit trickier and kind of put us in a worse spot. So I think looking at it, if we can top 5 at each week in the next 8 races, I feel comfortable about pointing our way in. I don't think we need anybody to have mistakes. The worst case would be another person behind us in points winning and jumping us again. That would put us in a pretty tough spot. So, like you said, winning is the goal, but I think we do have to focus a little bit on stage points coming up, especially with some of the wild card races. We've got the Daytona Road Course. We've got the Daytona Oval, obviously, is the season ender, the regular season ender. So those are the 2 races you kind of got to prepare for and try to stack some points up for it, have things go wrong there and have cushion. So like you said, obviously we'd just love to win, but we definitely need to get some points heading in our direction too. And some of that's going to have to be from stage points.
All right. I wanted to say hello one time real quick to Will Boykins this morning, watching on Facebook. Hey, Will. Miss you, buddy. Like to see you around. Terry, the random draws, we talked about this last week, whether it's a good or bad thing. In 6 races, guys, let's say how random this is. Y'all ready? In the last 6 draws, Eric Almirola has gotten 3 poles, and Jimmy Johnson has been exactly 20th in 4 of the 6. Random draws, Eric Almirola, 3 poles, and Jimmy Johnson has been 20th 4 times. Not 21st, not 22nd.
It's rigged.
He's been the exact spot, 20th, 4 times. Tom, how many times something happens before?
I would rather be lucky than be good.
Well, it's not fair to I don't think the random draw is fair to these guys at all, especially going into the playoffs and everything as well. We talked a little bit about that last week, and I don't see how it's going to be. Guys are going to be lost, especially in Phoenix in that last week. Championship weekend, Tom, that's a short track race. You starting 30th.
You're done.
There's no point in you being there. I mean, is there, Terry? You have to take 2 tires at the first stop, maybe.
Did I read something about Hendricks dropping the 48 car after Jimmy Johnson?
Maybe.
Yeah.
They are talking about dropping a car, downsizing. Then also as well, there was votes on the internet this week. I know, Terry, you're not on the Twitter feed, but they were voting on the all-time best driver, greatest driver, best driver. They were saying best. How about the driver poll was for all time was Jimmy 1, Richard Petty 2, Dale Earnhardt 3, Kyle Busch 4, and David Pearson 5. Is there a name out that I didn't say out loud that should be in that list? Does anyone know? Who drove the 24 car? Darrell Waltrip. Who all have more wins and championships than Kyle Busch right now. I like Kyle. I mean, sure, he can go out there and win, but dang, these guys have multiple championships and 80-plus wins.
What have you done for me lately?
So they did vote on the best driver now. 1 was Kyle Busch. 2 was Harvick. 3 was Jimmy Johnson, and I can't remember the rest of them. But that was the.
How many wins does Busch have?
That was the vote. This year, none.
I mean, like real wins, like
none.
The Cup race.
He's got over 200.
He's got none. He's got none, Tom. All right, real quick, final trivia, Terry, I got for you.
Defending.
Terry, you ready? Trivia. What NASCAR number has the most wins in series history? I've got the top 5 numbers for you. What NASCAR number, like driver number? Got a guess?
43.
There, he's in second place.
Okay,
43 had only
had
199 wins. He didn't win. One of his wins was not in a 43 car.
21.
Nope.
3. 3.
Dale Earnhardt, the 3 car is 3 with 100 wins.
11.
Boom.
Denny
Tom hit it. The 11 car has the most wins in NASCAR
Oh,
history.
so you did listen Wednesday.
222. That was Bondi Long, Cale Yarborough, and
Mhm.
Denny Hamlin with the 11 with 222 wins. 43's got 199. Number 3's got 100. Terry, number 4 is the Deuce, the Blue Deuce, Rusty Wallace, and of course Keselowski with 97 wins. And Jeff Gordon's 24 with 93.
But who's got the most wins overall in all 3 sports of truck? Xfinity. It's Kyle Busch.
All right, we're cutting him off.
3 home runs in a Pee Wee game yesterday.
What was the guy's name? Crash Davis, greatest baseball player ever, folks. We'll be back next week. Saturday Sports Talk brought to you by Friendship Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Friendship Nissan. Thanks for the sponsorship. Thanks for Rex Mitchell. See you next week. KDCBroadcasting.com.